Well, the Game Awards statue has been solved, sort of. If you missed it, I put out a short as well as a tweet last night. A trademark filed by Larian makes it very, very clear that this statue for the Game Awards 2025 has to do with something from them and the Divinity franchise. But we do have interviews and statements that are sort of conflicting with this about how they are not working or making Divinity Original Sin 3. So what exactly does this mean? That's why I say that the Game Awards statue has been solved, sort of. I'm going to end my morning coffee segment and bring folks over. That's a great reason to become a member to the channel. If you like supporting channels like this directly and you want into the extra content as well as my Discord, hit join and become a member. So essentially what is going on, and we even have an interview with Larian's CEO that I think is worth looking at. We'll be looking at that shortly, where he essentially talks about how ambitious they are being, and they're actually working on 2 games at once. We'll even look at the trademark as well, because it doesn't appear to be Divinity Original Sin 3, which would then line up with them publicly saying that they're not working or planning on making, or whatever the phrasing was, Divinity Original Sin 3. But the trademark does, perfectly line up with the statue. It's actually pretty impressive if you think about it, in the realm of making something 3-dimensional like that and putting it into a public space like that and having it light up at night and everything else, all the other sort of intangibles that go into it. But yes, it is in fact a solved problem or puzzle at this point. And I do want to say something to the fact that there are probably going to be people that think, man, this is a bummer that people solved it, or it's a bummer that it's not something maybe a little bit more popular. Like when people see Divinity, they're like, oh man, this was a whole lot of, hullabaloo over a smaller franchise. Well, just a little bit of pushback for me on that. Divinity Original Sin 2 sold over 7 million copies, and now Larian is a significantly bigger name than they ever have been, with the success of Baldur's Gate 3 selling over 15 million copies, winning the Game of the Year trophy 2 years ago, and then just last year when the CEO of Larian presented the Game of the Year award, went on a pretty impassioned speech about the next game that will win Game of the Year. So I actually think, and I said this when people were sort of theorizing that it could be Larian, that they could have him walk out of the statue at the Game Awards 2025 and have him essentially announce whatever it is they are going to announce. So there are those, I think, that are going to be a little bit bummed that it was solved before the event. It didn't remain a mystery up until the event. And again, my pushback there would be, this was something set out there to be a mystery. And if there's one thing you should know about the internet, it's pretty good at solving these mysteries. It's pretty good about putting pieces together and finding the breadcrumbs and figuring out what in the world is going on. So yes, it's been solved. And yes, we don't quite know exactly what it is just yet. So that is essentially the long and the short of it. Now, if you're watching this later or you're watching right now, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And also check that notification bell. Some people's are getting switched to personalized instead of all, and you might not be getting notified of all the content that I am making, especially if you don't want to miss these live shows. We will be co-streaming the Game Awards 2025 tomorrow. Great way to not miss out on anything that we do is to get into the Discord, especially if you are a member. You'll always get a ping when I go live, and sometimes the various platforms that we stream on don't do that. They won't notify you, but the Discord will never fail you. We always supply that link in there. And yes, yesterday, the guy from Larian said, there aren't currently any plans for a new Divinity Original Sin 3 game, but once we are ready to show what we've been working on, we will. So they very much are playing a little bit of a game here. Let me show you the tweet in question so you know that it is real. I'm not making this up. And this is Cromwelp, who is an employee of Larian. And he says, there aren't currently any plans for a Divinity Original Sin 3 game, but once we are ready to show what we've been working on, we will. And this is somebody saying Divinity Sin 3. Okay, so, hey, we weren't meant to announce that yet. And so this is Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, okay? So this gets basically leaked by the store or whatever, and then he says this. Now, I think the careful phrasing here and the careful wording is rather intentional. And here's what I mean. I'm going to go to my tweet about this, and somebody did the due diligence of supplying very, very large images here So these are two of the trademark images that were discovered. You will notice this simply says Divinity. It does not say Divinity Original Sin. It even looks a little bit different than the Divinity Original Sin 2 sort of logo and structure. It also looks like it's emanating emulating the Portal thing. The Game Awards statue is very much being represented here. This actually lines up with the eyeball thing in the middle, which, seemingly looks like some kind of a portal that's opening and demonic creatures are coming out. This is also part of the trademark, and this perfectly aligns with the statue when you overlay it. So it would seem that it's something within the Divinity franchise, but not necessarily a continuation of Original Sin 1, 2, and then obviously that would mean it would be 3. It could be anything. It could be a reset, a restart, a reboot, it could be, I don't know, something new. I think we're going to need to look at the Larian CEO interview shortly, and I'll kind of show you, what exactly he said about the games that they're currently working on. They're pretty ambitious. And we've only been streaming for about 6 minutes on YouTube, guys, so do me a quick favor and make sure you're hitting the like button. Give us a real quick amount of momentum there. And just for some perspective on sort of the number of Divinity games that are out there, thank you for supplying this, Fuzzy. We've got Divinity Dragon Commander, Divinity Original Sin 2, Divine Divinity, you've got the Beyond Divinity, you've got Divinity 2, Ego Draconis, and then you have Divinity 2, Flames of Vengeance. So, you kind of have quite a bit that they could pull from here with the sequels and the prequels. It is interesting that they're just calling this thing Divinity. I mean, it looks like maybe the first game was just called Divine Divinity and then Beyond Divinity. It doesn't actually look like they've ever had a game just straight up called Divinity. So again, that makes the trademark filing even more interesting. Is this going to be some sort of a soft reboot, some kind of a soft reset, given that this is the trademark? So if you are looking for the Game Awards statue solution, this is it. This is it. Oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. I closed the image. I apologize. That's just Twitch chat showing up there. So, yeah, that is essentially where we are. Divinity Goes to the Market was my favorite. Basically, not a party. You play as one character. That's my hope. You aren't doing new games coming anymore. We are potentially going to be bringing back the monologue. We are. And I'm going to bring back like games for your wish list and your radar. I miss doing the monologue. I miss doing that for you guys. I miss setting all that up. Unfortunately, yesterday we didn't have time to do the monologue because instead this thing broke with the statue. I recorded a short, sent out the tweet, and it was like, there's no real monologue to put together for this. It was, it was sort of a brief off-the-cuff thing that I just did just now for y'all. So going forward, though, probably in the new year, we're going to bring back that opening monologue. I kind of miss doing it. I know a lot of you guys watch the broadcast later, and you kind of miss the opening monologues as well. So I kind of want to bring those back. I think we maybe drifted a little bit from what I was going back and just listening to some of the old shows and just kind of thinking, okay, I'm always wanting to think about, what can we improve and make better? I always want you guys to feel like you're getting the most value and the best show possible. And I was listening to an older show, and I was like, you know what? I really like that opening monologue. I like the feel and the vibe of it. And people have left comments and feedback and said that they kind of miss a game for your wish list and your radar. And so I'll be happy to bring that back. Obviously, we're not going to be doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be basically all about the Game Awards 2025. We will be sort of doing like the classic speculation, predictions, waiting room, and then we will be co-streaming the Game Awards in the evening. So it'll be a really, really fun day. And currently, on the weekly goal, Twitch went a little crazy this morning. They do get a 35% discount all day today and tomorrow. And both Pork Pie and Flyers said, we want to see if YouTube can answer back. So we'll see if YouTube has an answer back. It's 242 to 2. So we are back on pace for the weekly goal. This week, it'll be me playing Dispatch on Friday night, as well as a new segment with Returnal that I'll do for you on Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be fun, especially with how much I enjoy that game. is Game Awards show tomorrow. It is indeed. It is tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, which is, wherever you are in the world, just add like 9 hours to your clock. That is that time tomorrow. So, that time today is like, 9 hours from now. And then that same time tomorrow is when the show will be. Wired Rope continuing to capitalize on the discount over there on Twitch and bumps us to 313 with the 5-bomb. Thank you so much, Wired Rope. He says, take that, YouTube, you bums. That's very strong language. It was very strong language. And I'm not going to apologize for what he said, though, because, he's calling you to the mat, YouTube. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys think about the Game Awards statue. There are people that are disappointed. They were like, really? We thought it was going to be something big. We thought it was going to be something exciting. And they're sort of disappointed. I obviously am not over the moon because I don't have a history with Divinity. And I don't really have a strong history with turn-based games either. And people are obviously thinking, well, we're going to end up with a turn-based game. Mike on the Mic is going to stoke the fires on YouTube and try and get it going. He gives a single member and bumps the line to 3, trying to maybe rally the troops over here. Thank you, Mike on the Mic. Somebody's going to be disappointed. I'm glad it's not me. Yes, and I do think there were people that are kind of trying to downplay this. And I'm like, I think this is a big deal. I think people look at Larian in a very, very different way than they have in the past, especially after the speech last year at the Game Awards, right? When they win Game of the Year and Larian's CEO makes the speech that he makes, I think it kind of made, it made some waves. It got clipped, it went a little viral. And I think when something like that happens, you are bound to get a little notoriety. And I think that notoriety extends even beyond Baldur's Gate 3 at this point. I think people look to Larian as one of the developers that's sort of growing in that sort of, the public loves them and thinks fondly of them. Even if you're not like a huge fan of Baldur's Gate 3, I think you can appreciate what they built and you can appreciate, the speech that he gave and how he sort of talked about, like, listen, I know what the game of the year next year is going to be. It was a good speech. I'm playing right now Divinity 2 with my friends in Pathfinder Solo, and BFG 3 was by far my game of the year. So I think what you were going to say is, so you're pretty excited, right? I'm sure it will be a big popular game, just totally meh on it. I'm indifferent towards Larian, Baldur's Gate, CRPGs in general. I think that's totally fair, by the way. I think it's totally fair to be like, I'm kind of indifferent here. I don't feel excitement or enthusiasm about CRPGs. I don't feel excitement or enthusiasm about turn-based games, right? Even though Expedition 33 is like almost tied for first for me this year. It is one of the best games I've probably ever played. It didn't suddenly turn me into a fan of turn-based games. I'm not like pining after, more turn-based games. So in my mind, it's exciting for sort of outside reasons. I actually, and I don't know if other people do this, I get excited for other people. Does that make sense? Like, when my daughter sees something that's like, K-pop Demon Hunters, and she gets really, really excited, I'm like excited for her, even though I don't care anything for the movie. And she loves it. Same thing with Wicked. She absolutely loves the movies. I feel nothing, but maybe a little disturbed by the interviews. So like I'm like excited for her. And so when I watch a showcase or there's an announcement and people are kind of coming out of their skin about something, I'm like, I'm kind of excited for them. So I knew when I saw this, I was like, yo, the Larian fans, the Baldur's Gate fans, the Divinity fans, they're going to be pretty excited. And it is pretty exciting, especially to have the statue and the mystery and the intrigue be attached to something and a studio that people really love, because the folks who were like, oh, it's going to be something lame, it's going to be some live service game, it's going to be some kind of a troll. I was like, I don't think Jason Schreier would say what he said if it was some kind of an elaborate troll. And I actually do think it's a good one. When he said, like, it's a good one, it's a quote-unquote good one, I'm like, yeah, this actually, I think, is a good one. I think this is something that many people are going to be excited for. You know what I mean? Let's be real, Baldur's Gate 3 walked, so Expedition 33 could run. Well, they're a little too close together. I think they're a little too close together to make that claim, unless you're talking about well, I don't even know. I think the reception and the way that people embraced it as a turn-based game, I think is attributed to the way they built it and the presentation. I think they made a compelling offer from that perspective. You know, always snacking for 34 months. Welcome back, dude, over here on Purple. We are exactly 10 members away from the next milestone of 325, where I'll owe you guys a member. Whoever hits it gets it. And all day today and tomorrow, Twitch, I cashed in my final discount of the year so I wouldn't lose it. You get 35% off on Twitch if you gift right now. Divinity 2 was a masterpiece, and it set the groundwork for what they were able to accomplish with Baldur's Gate 3, says Dylan. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that when I see it, like I said, I'm not, coming out of my skin for it, but I think it's cool. Number one, I think it's cool that they did it. They decided to do sort of like a mystery marketing campaign. I like when companies do that. I like when they're like, hey, let's give the fans something exciting and interesting and curious and mysterious. I think that that's fun when they're willing to do that. I also think, seeing a big studio take that kind of a risk. And a 10 bomb comes in from always snacking, just continuing the dominance for Twitch today and gets us to 325. I owe you guys big time over here. I've been waiting until I owe a 5 bomb on Twitch to pay up, and I'm going to do that right now. I owe you guys a 5 bomb because I owed you 4 for the previous 100 bomb, and now I owe you another one. YouTube Dead in the Water, says Hilly. Apparently, they're just throwing in the towel. They're not even going to try. Genuinely, if you guys want to go crazy today and tomorrow and you typically gift on YouTube, feel free to go to Twitch instead and use the discount. I don't make as much on Twitch. The split's smaller, and I'll obviously get less because of the discount. But if you're trying to go crazy and support and, you want to stretch it a little bit more, you feel free to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. The contest is just for fun. It's not like a genuine... There's no trophy at the end of the week for the team, the platform that wins. If Divinity is the same style of turn-based as Expedition 33, would that interest some of you? Yes. 100%. 100%. If they decide to... We must have had a little bit of a blip on YouTube, maybe. I don't know what's happening. Did we get featured or rated or something? No, there must have been a blip. Okay. Anytime there's a blip, the viewer count number, it goes up higher than it actually is. It wasn't on my end. So, mid hiccup. Okay. Yeah, that was on their end. That wasn't anything that I did. So, yeah. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, check your renewals, do all the things, because that's always going to get interpreted really awkwardly by YouTube. A 20 bomb from the OA says, I'm feeling belligerent today, so here it goes. Even though Baldur's Gate 3 is a better game by a large margin, the system implementation and the pen and paper feel of Pathfinder is better fleshed out. Owlcat doesn't get enough praise, in my opinion. Thank you for the $20, the OA. Let me go ahead and put a member goal up there. Every 5 super chat goal, I will gift a member. Every 5 super chats I give back over there as well. So thank you. And thank you, Rain Waters, for renewing your Prime over there on Twitch. Larian writing meets Claire Obscure Expedition 33 combat. It's just pure win. Yeah, the writing and the characters and the voice acting in Baldur's Gate 3, I've seen the clips. I mean, it is just a very, very high quality game, And if Divinity had Expedition 33 style combat, I would totally play it. I just felt way more involved. I did not feel like I was just sort of choosing an attack and watching. I felt like it was more of an active participation, and the participatory nature of that kind of combat is a huge selling factor for people. Now, some people are just never going to be able to get over the fact that it's turn-based, and I think that's totally fine. But the participation factor was a huge reason that, and I am approved for the co-stream feature. You can use the new co-streaming feature to have your audience included in the total event viewership. Simply head to the Game Awards page. It shows click co-stream button next to the main broadcast pull feed. Okay, make sure you're in the Game Awards category. And there's a Twitch drop as well with Path of Exile tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Well, there we go. We're all set for tomorrow. That's exciting. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button over there on YouTube. We had a little bit of a blip, and the likes definitely help. So thank you to anybody who is smashing that like button. Get us those first 100 likes. We've been streaming for about 20 minutes, and that is very helpful. I'm late and driving. What's the statue about? Okay, let me give you guys the quick too long didn't read. The statue has been officially solved. The Game Awards statue has been officially solved, and I'm assuming it'll be at the event. So tomorrow when we watch the Game Awards 2025, I am assuming that this statue will be included in some capacity. So there was a trademark discovered, and that trademark that was discovered included a perfect overlay to the statue. It's like a black spider-looking thing. It also included this. So it's very, very clear that Larian has filed for trademarks, and this also overlays on the statue as well. Like that center eyeball thing is exactly sort of like the center eyeball thing here right in the center of Divinity. So there is obviously something new coming from Larian with Divinity. Now, it is not Divinity Original Sin 3. It does not appear to be anything as a continuation of that. So something with Divinity. Now, we should probably check out this interview with Larian that we kind of looked at yesterday, and I think this sort of sheds some light on what exactly is going on. So, videogamer.com with the following article said, Baldur's Gate 3 dev Larian Studios is working on 2 games as they plan to be a company that can craft multiple RPGs side by side. So, down here you can see he spoke with GameSpot. Larian CEO said they're trying to figure out how to make 2 games. And he says, however, making 2 titles at once is challenging simply due to how complicated Larian's style of RPG is. So I'm going to continue reading this in just a second. I want to thank Minchtree for 51 months over here on YouTube. Make sure and check your renewal, guys. That certainly helps, and that also can certainly help you guys get back into contention with Twitch. Twitch went a little crazy today with the gifteds. So yeah, not only are they working on 2, he says it's shaping up quite well actually, but it's crazy ambitious. So this is him replying about how they are working on their next big thing. So I am assuming that this is about Divinity. This is about whatever it is that they're going to show with this statue at the Game Awards. Okay? So in this interview, he says their next big thing, he says it's shaping up quite well, but it's crazy ambitious. There's so much new things we can do these days. So yeah, complex. Right? He continues down here. We're trying to figure out how to make 2 games. So organizing ourselves for that also isn't the easiest thing in the universe because we make complicated games with lots of permutations, lots of agency for players. So it seems like they are going to be shooting for that again. Like that was one of the things that Baldur's Gate 3 was so heavily praised for. And he says here, so predicting when those games will be finished is hard, and then organizing around that is harder. Keeping ourselves busy, really. He explained that the studio wants to be in a position where it can craft multiple RPGs side by side rather than going idle. While the studio does make incredible games, there can be a lengthy period of silence. However, with the sheer amount of buzz from Baldur's Gate 3, a faster turnaround might be the best to keep capitalizing on the hype the studio can now generate. It's actually the main reason why we're doing multiple projects, he said. We have this waterfall where we have this small group that starts thinking about what we're going to make and this very large group that executes on it. Then, when that large group is finished, if the people at the beginning aren't ready, then everyone is effed because everyone has to wait. I hope I can tell you in 5 years that we've cracked it. We've figured it out. This is what we're doing now. Here's game 1. We're making this completely different thing. That's game 2. And then when game 2 is ready, we've got this entirely different thing that's going to come. If we can make this work in a good way, we can enjoy our lives. That'll be mission accomplished. accomplished. In practice, it'll probably be miserable, but there'll be plenty of stuff that goes wrong, and that's the goal. So it seems to me that they're not just wanting to make another Baldur's Gate or another Divinity. Okay? It seems like here's like they're making a completely different thing, and then game 2 is going to be a completely different thing. So the ambition, to me, seems to stem from that. And thank you guys as you're piling in. If you're wanting to know about the Game Awards statue, it has been solved. It is Larian. It is Divinity. But other than that, we don't necessarily know more than that. We're pretty confident it is not Original Sin 3, as one of the Larian employees was literally on Twitter yesterday and said they are currently not doing anything with Divinity's Original Sin 3. So it is likely some kind of a standalone reboot, restart, or they're just going to call it Divinity, and maybe it's some kind of a game they plan to like do stuff with ongoing. Not like a live service game, but like maybe just sort of like an RPG that they continue to grow and expand with, expansions and things like that, DLC. I don't know. Or it's just so ambitious and so far-reaching and so big that they want to give it maybe a broader, less specific name and, more of a broad identity. If you're just tuning in on YouTube, be sure to hit subscribe so you can talk in the chat. We are one of the official co-streams of the Game Awards tomorrow, so you'll be able to watch that with us. We will be doing a lot of predictions and speculation tomorrow as more and more leaks and announcements come out. You may have missed it, but the Game Awards have officially announced some more guests that will be at the event. One of them is another Muppet, and I know some people are pretty down on the Muppets being there. I actually think it's fine. I think it's fun. I think it's okay to allow a little silliness into your life, allow a little goofiness in your life. I'm scrolling now through the feeds to see if anything else has developed. If you were in Morning Coffee, you already heard about some of these announcements as they've announced, like Rolf the Muppet and Ms. Piggy. But there is another exciting announcement that they said, somebody's going to be there. And they said this yesterday, that Todd Howard would be there presenting. And seemingly they're also wanting to not just pull in, big names within the gaming world. They're also wanting to pull in big names within movies and big names within, TV shows and celebrities. So I know they like to do celebrity appearances. They've done those in the past. But the one that I am scrolling to right now, I'm fresh out of Vamp. I did not think I was going to have to scroll this long. I was vamping that entire time. I made it. I found it. Here it is. I vamped. I did it successfully. Let's ignore the fact that I almost ran out. Jeffrey Wright will be there, who is a part of the Last of Us TV show as well as Dispatch. So he will be there as a presenter. So always exciting to see more and more celebrities getting involved with both games as well as, games media. We also saw yesterday that the Snitch was teasing something with God of War. We now know that the statue has nothing to do with God of War. It has nothing to do with Santa Monica Studios. Yes, that was, there was some speculation there, that maybe, Cory Barlog was playing a bit of a game with people. He was kind of jumping on the topic right away to throw people off the scent. I never felt too strongly about that theory. I thought, yeah, maybe. There was also people saying, PlayStation has done statues in the public before, and there was other people thinking maybe it's Path of Exile DLC. I always thought it didn't make much sense to spend this amount of money on, number one, on a DLC, or number two, on something that had already been announced. So clearly not a DLC, and clearly also something new. He was the best part of Season 2. Yeah, he was. He's excellent in pretty much anything I've ever seen him in. After Baldur's Gate 3, I tweeted to Larian that they should do their next RPG using the system on the Expanse tabletop RPG. Now Owlcat is kind of making my dream come true, even though it's an action game and not turn-based. With the success of Expedition 33, it would not surprise me if, people that are working on any kind of a turn-based RPG, if they decide, hey, maybe we should incorporate that. Maybe we should do something similar to that. Maybe we should incorporate something that is, more action-oriented, more, adjacent or similar or inspired by what Expedition 33 did. I mean, you guys feel free to weigh in here, because, I mean, with Divinity potentially getting some kind of a new installment of sorts, you know, would you like to see it run in more of that direction? Do you want it to stay kind of true to their roots, like that they did with like Baldur's Gate 3, and stay CRPG, stay dice roll, stay turn-based? Or would you be like, no, I'd really be open to them doing something that is a little bit more of that middle ground, like we got in Expedition 33? Angry Pete with 21 months, welcome back. Twitch continues to dominate today with 260 on the day from gifteds and renewals. Thank you very much. You didn't like Expedition 33. Baldur's Gate 3, Expedition 33, and now Divinity. I'd like to see them try something different. The way that Larian CEO is speaking, it really makes me think that they are trying to push themselves. They're trying to be ambitious. They're trying to do something new, which to me would mean it's not going to just be, well, there's a lot of player agency and freedom, and it's another turn-based RPG. I feel like they're probably trying to do more than that. Turn-based is hard going for me, but Expedition 33 just worked. Leave turn-based the way it is with all the different turn-based styles, says, again, Shiro. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3. What's stopping you? 2 years ago, it was confirmed Larian had a game under the codename Excalibur, likely based off of one of their dogs, but it sounds more action. So you think it sounds action because of the codename Excalibur, or is there something else that's making you think it's going to be more of an action game? I'm not necessarily tracking with your argument there, or not your argument, but your prediction. Baldur's Gate 3 did so well that Larian has a long runway for me. Experiment and see what you can do. Don't think it'll be dice roll, but I do think it'll be different. I'm getting that vibe. I mean, the interview with Larian CEO, he used the word different multiple times. That it'll be a different thing. It'll be an entirely different thing. And that, apparently it's so ambitious, it seems like it's almost a little bit daunting for them to, to try. And I think that that's fair. I think we saw something similar, similar comments from Kojima recently, that trying to do something new and ambitious can be a little scary. Do you think the Divinity game could be similar to Dragon's Dogma or Skyrim? I feel like that would make sense. In what way? You've been avoiding Baldur's Gate 3? Why? Why are you avoiding it? I mean, I tried it. I played it one night with Madam, and I definitely saw the appeal, but I was like, this is just not a game that we would ever be able to get into. There's just no way. It's not really our vibe. I used to really enjoy the old Final Fantasy games, but now that we have games like Yote, it's hard for me to go back to turn-based. I mean, when you've played a lot of action games, I think there's two things that can happen when you play an action game. Maybe one that has like the more moment-to-moment combat. So like, let's say you play Sekiro or Lies of P, or you play Ghosts of Yote or Tsushima, or Rise of the Ronin. And I think there's a couple of things that happen. I think some people play it and they view it as, I am in this genre, and this genre has a style and rules, and it's likable within it, but it doesn't impact or change their preferences. Does that make sense? I think there are some people that can do that. They can kind of like bounce from genre to genre, and they appreciate and respect the games within it, and they're not impacted by it. Like, it doesn't change their preferences. They can just appreciate it, but then they can immediately go and play a, Metaphor Refantasio. They can play a Baldur's Gate 3. They can play a Persona. They can play, even an Expedition 33 and appreciate it and love it just as much. It doesn't impact and make them think, well, this is all I want now. Then there are some of us that, I don't know what word to use. Maybe we're just a little bit more malleable. Maybe I'm a little bit more moldable in that if I have a really, really good experience in a game, it sort of shapes my expectations, or it shapes my preferences a little bit. And that can work in the negative, by the way. that can totally work in the negative. Like if you are like me and you've played first-person shooters for a really, really long time, that can start to shape your preferences in the inverse. And you're like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of this and don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't really vibe with first-person shooters anymore. And, similarly, something could happen, I'm with games like Yote and Tsushima. I mean, we all kind of feel that with open world games to a degree. I think all of us have some level of fatigue with open world. So it can impact you in the negative. But it can impact you in the positive where you're like, I want more of this. It's why I'm thrilled that Saros is coming out, because I've got 150 to 160 hours in Returnal, and I'm so close to getting all the guns maxed, but now we're dealing with RNG. Like I can have a whole run and a whole grind and get none of the guns that I need to drop, because there's a very, very small number of perks that I need to max out. Lono, you may really end up liking Spirited Away, but that doesn't mean he wants to be an anime fan. That happens as well. I mean, a good example for me is with movies, like I can watch something like White Christmas and really enjoy it every year with my wife and my kiddos, but I appreciate it for the genre that it's in. I don't suddenly become obsessed with musicals. I'm like, I'm going to go get musicals. So I think sometimes I do this with other forms of entertainment. But with video games, there are just certain genres that I just can't get into gear with. The like RTSs, real-time strategy games, super grindy MMOs, like XCOM style games. I don't know what to call those other than XCOM style games. And then like turn-based games, like Baldur's Gate 3. I can see the quality, I can see the value, and I'm like, you know what? I just can't get into gear. I don't get any traction with it. It's almost like watching someone play a sport or an instrument, and you're like, oh man, that looks so cool, that looks so fun, but you don't feel any desire to do it yourself. You're like, yeah, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. I'm not tired of open world games. I'm tired of the formulaic open world games. If you gave me a Baldur's Gate 3 style game, open world with choices and consequences, come on now. Mm-hmm. They call them tactics games. Like an XCOM game is called a tactics game. Yeah, deck builders don't do much for me either. So if you're just tuning in, the Game Awards statue has been solved, sort of. We know who it is, and we know largely, what it's for, but we don't know much beyond that. It's a Divinity game from Larian. That's all we know. It doesn't seem to be anything with Original Sin, like Divinity Original Sin 3. A Larian employee literally said yesterday in reply to somebody that they are not presently planning on or working on a Divinity Original Sin 3. Yeah, sports games and fighting games are a good example, Fuzzy. I just don't see it. I don't feel it. I don't know. It just doesn't do much for me anymore. It never really did. I remember back in the day playing Tecmo Super Bowl or Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball or whatever on the Super Nintendo. Those were fun, but beyond that, I just never really, the original Nintendo had the dodgeball game and the soccer game where the characters all look the same. So I'll never forget Lono playing Sparking Zero. Yeah, that was rough. That was supposed to be entertaining in that, you guys were going to come in and beat me up, and, nobody did, so I ended up trying to just play through the campaign. And then Vegeta beat the tar out of me, and I was like, yeah, this is not entertaining. It's an NPC. I am bad at these games. Is this new Divinity maybe the Baldur's Gate 4 fork, since Larian didn't want to continue making Baldur's Gate 4? Yeah, I don't know, Paris. I really, really don't. I'm not quite sure. I mean, the Game Awards is tomorrow, and so it's the best baseball game ever made. The one we played, I think, was on the Super Nintendo. We played a Ken Griffey baseball game on the Super Nintendo. I don't think we played one on the 64. By the time we got the 64, we were deep in the throes of, GoldenEye and Mario Kart pretty much every day. I know you played Sparking Zero. It was a member incentive. So the member incentive this week is Dispatch. Here, I don't have the image up. You guys can make me play Dispatch this Friday night. I was like, I don't really vibe with those kind of games. And people were like, Lono, you might actually like it. And I was like, well, if you guys hit the weekly goal, I'll play Dispatch Friday night with y'all. I'll also do a fun segment that somebody came up with on Friday with Returnal. We're going to call it the Returnal Rage Runs. And we're going to see how well I can do. The Baseball All-Stars. Yes, on the original Nintendo. That was very good. Yes. I'm fine with the next game not being the same scope as Baldur's Gate 3. Give them a little bit of a break. Well, I mean, it doesn't sound like they're trying to shrink scope. It sounds like it's going to have a crazy amount of ambition and agency. You like that, Returnal Rage Runs? Yeah. Since I'm really, really close to maxing out all the guns, I thought that would be fun. I thought that would be fun to do with you guys. I love that game. I love playing that game. The content, it probably won't do. It probably won't have a ton of people wanting to watch it because it's an older game. But maybe, who knows? With Saros around the corner, Returnal is starting to get a little bit of a pull. I have a guide on the channel on how to play Returnal. It's called Returnal Gameplay in 2025. If you're trying to get into Returnal, I kind of walk through. It's like the opening 30 minutes really shows you what meta progression and leveling up and getting stronger looks like in Returnal. A lot of people don't understand that they're actually getting stronger by playing, even though it's a rogue where you die and start over. So, is it good? It is one of the best. I think it's PlayStation's best game this gen. I think it's their best first-party game, personally. I loved all the sequels that I played. I loved Forbidden West and God of War and Spider-Man. I loved Ratchet and Clank. But I think Returnal is their best game. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. It is truly magnificent for so many reasons. Like story, soundtrack, creativity, the action, the moment to moment, the ambition to create what they created. Like, I just absolutely love it. I'm so glad they decided to make a spiritual sequel in Saros. I love it. If you're going to play Returnal, you need to watch my video, Returnal Gameplay in 2025. Go and watch it so that you can kind of orient to how you're making progression. Better than Yote? Yes, better than Yote. I think Returnal is their best game this gen. I don't think it's going to be outdone. I don't know if it can be outdone for me personally. It's just my personal opinion. It's just me. This is just me talking. I'm not speaking objectively here. For me personally, I don't think they can outdo it. Like, Wolverine's going to be an absolute blast, and I'm going to absolutely love Saros. But I'm always going to look at Returnal as just this triumph. It's just an absolute triumph of a game, and I love the vision that they came up with, the internal systems. The more I play it, the more I see it. I'm like, gosh, this adrenaline system is so dadgum smart. There's so much about it that I love. The risk reward, the malfunctions, everything. It is a masterpiece. It truly, truly is a masterpiece. So I very much have strong feelings about that game. So yeah. Yep. If like Tsushima would have dropped this gen, I would pick Tsushima. But like Tsushima dropped last gen. Like, Tsushima's magnificent. And obviously Yote got to stand on his shoulders. Same with Forbidden West, same with Ragnarok, same with Ratchet and Clank. They kind of got to stand on the shoulders of an existing IP. And I think that makes them impressive, but not as impressive as Returnal. You can't get past the first major boss. I hear you. Give my video a watch. Give it a watch. Returnal Gameplay in 2025, and see if it doesn't help you. I've had so many people comment on that video, and they're like, "You brought me back to the game. I was able to get in gear. I was able to beat it." Like, there's a handful of comments on that video of people. No, don't do it co-op. Co-op is harder. If you're having a hard time with Returnal, the last thing you want to do is play co-op. It's literally harder. I beat Returnal with my wife, and it was actually harder with two people because you have to share everything. Now that I've unlocked all like the highest level perks, almost all the highest level perks, it might be a little bit easier, but it is friggin' hard with two people. Like, really, really hard. So if you guys have not hit the like button yet on YouTube, do me a favor and do that. We don't want to wander too much off topic here. You guys got me talking about Returnal. Do me a quick favor and hit the like button. If you're tuning in for information about the Game Awards or the Game Awards statue, it has been solved. Speaking of which, I should probably go in here to the short and make this the related video. Let me go ahead and save that there. We'll go ahead and save that. Change is saved. We have a short on the topic. We have a short on the topic, and it's getting a lot of people watching it. So we might get some people to come in here from the short. So thank you, everybody. If you are searching for this, or I was on your homepage this morning, thank you so much for being here. If you're watching on YouTube and you're like, man, Lono, I haven't seen you in a while, you can rectify that by hanging out in the Discord or making sure your notification bell is set to all and not personalized. There have been some updates recently that can sometimes mess with that, and that's a really great way to dodge that. You'll never miss a show if you're hanging out in the Discord. Neo 3 and Co-op is a lot of fun. Before the game I told you. Listen, there were a lot of you, and I give you your flowers. There were a lot of you last week that were saying you think it's Larian. There were. I didn't have like a strong conviction either way. We started looking at the shapes of the runes in Elden Ring, and I was like, this could be FromSoft. That was like the strongest I felt. I thought that the God of War Cory Barlog theory was kind of weak, and I thought, well, maybe it's his game, and that's why he jumped in that stream. I thought, yeah, maybe something with Path of Exile, but then didn't make any sense to do that for something already announced. And then, yeah, the animals. People started throwing out things like Lords of the Fallen and other, and I was like, no, those games are too grotesque. They're not realistic enough. You asked Grok, and it said it was Larian. Well, Grok can get some things right, apparently. FromSoft trailers usually just a terrible video of bosses. Yeah, well, and FromSoft games are a little too grotesque. The demonic look of the creatures were a little bit too Doom adjacent or like Diablo adjacent for like a FromSoft game. But I still felt like, man, I don't know. It felt like it had FromSoft DNA in the art, in the runes, in the shape of things. It had that vibe and that feel. The latest best-selling games charts for Canada were released. Battlefield 6 was Canada's best-selling game for October, followed by Pokemon and Ghosts of Yote. That's good company for Yote. Pokemon and Battlefield. Hey, a 5-bomb comes in from Winged Wheel over here on YouTube and gets us to 3 on the week. You guys are super far behind. You know what? I tell you what we could do. Let me make a really good incentive here. YouTube, if you rally, and at a minimum, you tie Twitch on the day, I'll drop a 20 on each platform. I'll do it. There's your incentive. An actual reward, not just like bragging rights. All you guys have to do is tie. You just have to tie Twitch, all right? Let's see if YouTube can do it, because Twitch threw down the gauntlet during morning coffee. It was a little unfair. They dropped a couple 100 bombs, but we will see if we can't really stoke the fires here. Let's get YouTube answering back here, and we'll get more people in, and then we obviously do things on the weekend as well. We'll be doing something on Friday, I should say, if we hit the goal, which at this point we're on pace, and thank you for that. The statue shows that the doors of Tartarus are open and the demons are free. Revellion has a new, very big problem. So, yes, it's Divinity. Well, Geoff made a tweet or reply or something about sinners as well. So it's going to have that as a theme. And a single comes in from Silver Subaru. He says, all right, boys, let's all link arms and make it happen. A lot of singles and 5-bombs add up very, very quickly. I kind of want to see what the makers of Kena Bridge of Spirits are doing next. Doing the best I can. Every little bit helps. Renewals help. Gifteds help. Upgrades help. All of it helps. So thank you, Silver Subaru. I really liked Kena Bridge of Spirits. The combat needed to be really, really polished. They did some good work making the parry system not so bad, but because it was bad at launch, and they fixed that. But it still just had some awkward camera things in the late game. Especially when you had like disappearing bosses and stuff. They needed to polish it a little bit. Similar to like South of Midnight. 2 games with a lot of moxie and a lot of chutzpah and like cool style and feel. But their combat just was kind of wonky. Kind of lacked polish. Bring back Green Room on YouTube, says Incredible Black with 40 months. Thank you so much. I will bring Green Room back to YouTube when YouTube stops screwing around with members content. I saw the maker of Ball Pit is making an expansion for it. Yeah, there's a bunch of new content coming to Ball Pit next year in 2026. Yeah, they officially announced that. I got like 30-something hours in Ball Pit. I loved it. It was so fun. It's one of the games I cleared this year, and I really, really enjoyed it. You're addicted to Cloudheim right now. Have you tried it? No, I've not seen it or tried it. I don't even know what it is. What if Corey's game is a Divinity reboot? It's not out of the question that Larian sold the IP to Sony. I mean, Jason did say Corey's game isn't new, but will feel new. Didn't the trademark literally say it was filed by Larian though? It genuinely can't be a 2026 game. Like, what are we meant to do? Phantom Blade, Wolverine, GTA 6, Soros, ETC. Too many rooms. I second that green room on YouTube. Quit messing around YouTube. Yeah. I just need them to stop showing members content to non-members, and I'm happy to bring members content back. We are one of many YouTubers that had to stop doing members content that way. Like, morning coffee is the only thing we can afford to do right now. So I am doing the best I can. Green room in Discord is a blast. You guys are missing out if you're not hanging out in the Discord. Like, we are still trying to deliver the value that we promised to you. That's something I am committed to. So, Tristan off the week. That's not for the week. That's for today. Yeah, the contest for today. If YouTube can manage to tie Twitch today, I'm going to drop a 20 bomb on each platform. So we'll see if you guys can rally the troops. You're going to have to maybe put the bat signal in the sky and bring some of the big dogs in. I highly recommend giving Lords of the Fallen another playthrough. It has changed for the better so much. It's really good now. Yeah, so my issue with games like that, I have just lost my palate and my flavor. I don't have a desire to play Souls games anymore. Like, I just don't want to. A Sekiro sequel might pull me back in. A Bloodborne 60 FPS might pull me back in. Thank you for the 5-spot SDO. I can't help but feel that the statue is far too much marketing for a remake of an old Divinity game. It's not a remake. I'm fairly certain you wouldn't be filing for trademarks for a remake. It has to be something new. It's a new logo. It's new branding. It's new. It doesn't seem like a remake to me. So, I loved First Berserker Kazan because I could turn it down the difficulty and it felt like an action game with a heavy focus on parry. So, yeah, Metal Matt. Mash just took a break from the channel. I've always said that, he is more than welcome to come back. I do not care what currency people use to gift. We have adjusted how I respond to gifted milestones and to milestones. We had to make that adjustment because I'm not aware of what people are using, and so we made an adjustment, and so it doesn't matter to me. I made that crystal clear. It was still a massive amount of support over the years, and I still appreciate him and miss his little jabs and jokes about how short I am. So, I think something new in the Divinity lore, with the way that the statue has been built, if you guys, you take a close look at the Game Awards statue, it's new. It's got to be like a new game, a new thing, like a new era. Something's coming. Something's going to open. Like, it doesn't seem like it's a remake at all. Milk Dud with 26 months and Member Plus. What's your Hail Mary prediction for the Game Awards? I mean, let me add it to the total here. I don't really have a Hail Mary prediction. It would be great to see Cory Barlog's game if it's real. There's something going on with God of War, according to the Snitch. Now, that could be the God of War show. It could be a new God of War game. I mean, it could be anything. What's my opinion on the AC Black Flag remake? Yeah, so Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced officially leaked yesterday as it got rated by the PEGI website. It's rated PEGI 18. Not surprising that it got that level of a rating. I'm excited. I think that is obviously one of the fan favorites. That is one of the fan favorite Assassin's Creeds for a reason. If they can make it look as good and feel as good as AC Shadows, I'm very excited. Very excited. Switch to Twitch. Muku, love you, bro. Thank you so much for your Prime over there. I appreciate that very, very much, Mike. It's now 3:37 on the week. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard for me to make like a Hail Mary prediction because like there's so many things that could be there. There are so many things that could be at the event. It's hard to know. Any Xbox game first-party title that we should be excited about? If they can nail the combat in Fable, that's it. Yeah, maybe. We could make an incentive. Yeah. Maybe. I'm reading a DM here. But what was I saying? Kazan and Lost Soul aside, both had fun action, but Kazan did a better job keeping it fresh. Yeah, my only gripe with Kazan was they did something like near the end where bosses kept like leaving the arena and just showering me with range attacks. My Hail Mary is Half-Life gameplay trailer. Yeah, okay, we can talk about that. We might get a Half-Life 3 announcement today. Mike Straw felt pretty strongly about the fact that Half-Life 3 is imminent and coming. The announcement's imminent, and he said the announcement will be before the Game Awards. Oh, somebody asked about like Xbox first party. Yeah, if they nail the combat, I thought Fable looked really promising. I think anything else that's been like in development for a long time is in jeopardy because of that 30% that Microsoft wants. I think Microsoft is the biggest concern for me. If they want super high margins and a project's been in development for a really long time, that's worrying. It could, something like State of Decay 3 or something. I don't know. It just feels like Microsoft's being unreasonable, of the gaming division, which is kind of related to the Warner Brothers thing. Like, Netflix is like, yeah, we didn't really factor in the gaming division for the purchase. It's like, oh, great. So you don't really value it. I can't wait to see what the frick you're going to do with it. Ugh. A $5 super chat from Jack Garland. Kazan, I'm here to fight you, boss. Big laser blast. Yeah, it wasn't even that it was hard. It just wasn't very enjoyable. In a game with melee-based combat, when the boss, like, goes away, and you're just kind of watching them, and you're just sort of like, the strategy was to just run or dash like crazy. It in a game that, like, really is enjoyable when you nail the parries, and you nail the big hits, and you break their posture, it just wasn't fun. It was like, okay, you're going to go over there for a while and fly around, and I'm just over here. Okay, cool. That's over now. Now we can go back to fighting. I didn't mind it in one fight. I think it was like 3 different fights did it. And I was like, can we be done with this mechanic? Like, it just wasn't very fun in a melee-based game. It was kind of like my criticism for Rise of the Ronin, where a lot of the fights at the end, they're like flying around the room like Iron Man and like dropping fire bombs on the ground. And I'm like, okay, I'm over here with my 2 katanas. Whenever you feel like getting on the ground and fighting, like, you know what I mean? I'm never thrilled when a game based off of melee-based combat and stances and parries and blocks and stuff, all of a sudden the enemy's like, I'm a wizard, and they're like flying around, and you're like, good for you. I'm not. Like, I'm just there on the ground. You know what I mean? Yo, a member plus from Ulatech says, Sup, Lono, I hope you're doing good. Sorry if you have to repeat yourself, but did you figure out what the statue is? New God of War, new FromSoft game. I'm here to tell you, it's neither of those. Sorry. It is actually Divinity. Larian filed a new trademark, and we saw it. Let me add you to the total. It is a Divinity game. They filed a trademark. It was discovered yesterday. It perfectly lines up with the Game Awards statue. So if you're looking for information about the Game Awards 2025, we're one of the official co-streamers. We'll be co-streaming it tomorrow. And yes, it is Divinity. It is not, I will tell you what it isn't. It's not Cooking Mama 3, and it is not Divinity Original Sin 3. It's not. It's just Divinity. This is one of the trademarks right here. Just straight up Divinity. So, as of yesterday, one of the Larian staff literally said publicly they are not working nor planning to work on a Divinity Original Sin 3. Like, they're not doing it. So, is Fable still coming out? I really hope so. I hope that Fable and some of the more long-standing Xbox projects are so far into development that it's we've got to ship this to try to make money, instead of, well, get rid of it because it's not going to make 30%, margins, which is what Microsoft is asking for. Sven with 36 months on Twitch. Holy mackerel, that's 3 years. Thank you, sir. We got people submitting questions. If you are a member on YouTube or a sub on Twitch, you can submit questions with the question command, and you can be featured on the channel. It like pops up down here. So consider doing that. Possibility for the WB acquisition. With an outstanding offer under review, WB can't substantially change their evaluation. The review process takes sometimes a year and a half or two. So Netflix has effectively frozen WB for that time frame. What? Why that long? A lot of people say that they're disappointed it's Divinity. The game has a huge following. I have about 200 to 300 hours. I understand people being disappointed if it's like it's not their game. But Divinity Original Sin 2 has sold over 7 million copies. Baldur's Gate 3 has sold over 15 million copies. I think it's exciting for those reasons. And it's Larian, for crying out loud. You know, they're going to be ambitious. With it, Grubby, with 8 months and using your Prime, thank you so much. We are exactly a 10 bomb away from 350. YouTube, try to bag at least a win today there. Whoever hits it gets it. Whoever hits this next milestone, I owe a member. All day today and tomorrow, Twitch does have 35% off when you gift a 5 bomb or higher. If you are going to go crazy today or tomorrow on YouTube and you feel like taking advantage of that, feel free. I actually make less if you do that, but that's totally fine if that's what you want to do. If you're like, hey, I'm going to support like crazy. We go crazy on award days and stuff. That's fine if you want to do it on Twitch. That is totally fine. Is this a reminder? No, it's not. Oh, shoot. I need to start taking these surveys that they're sending me. People assumed Larian because of Divinity. KOTOR might be shown. Yes, there are rumors that KOTOR might be shown. Yes. Yes. That is also true. Larian didn't file the trademark. The relation is that the same person who filed the Divinity logo filed the statue trademark. Wait, what? People assumed Larian because of Divinity. I'm confused. So, do we know who filed it? I thought for sure that Larian's name was on the dadgum thing. Was on the filing. Open image in a new tab. It's something in partner Recht and Swalt. Representative name, representative ID number. Do we know who this is? It's like a law firm? Well, I mean, based on the name of the law firm, it looks like, yeah, I would think they probably represent Larian? Has anybody researched the law firm? Let me look and see. Yeah, all we have is that comment from the Larian employee that they're not working on Divinity Original Sin 3, but that doesn't mean it can't be a Divinity game. You know? If you guys are tuning in for news about the Game Awards or the Game Awards statue, a little bit of a new development now that it might not be Larian, but that doesn't make any sense to me. You'd have a... okay, can we be honest about something? You'd have a really, really hard time getting a trademark to stick for a property that you don't own. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, go try and file a trademark for Destiny. You're not going to be able to. Go try and file a trademark for, Diablo. It isn't going to stick. I don't think that you could have somebody... Now, you could argue, well, maybe they licensed it out. But even the name of the law firm, it sounds like it's based in the same place that Larian is. The company is located in Berlin, Germany. Isn't that where Larian is located? They're in Belgium. They're in Ghent, Belgium. Okay? How close is that to this place in Germany that you're talking about? It was just in chat. Berlin, close to Berlin, Germany. It's about an 8-hour drive. I don't know. If you were to drive it or take the train, it's 7 or 8 hours away. I mean, I don't know. In that part of the world, is that considered like close by enough that that'd be like a legal department for you, or like your lawyer like filing for a trademark for you? Like maybe that's just who they go through. I don't know. Maybe they keep them on retainer. Bucky from Power World making a little bit of a joke here. Just visiting the Power World dating sim statue. There it is. Yeah, I think it's really, really clear that this thing's going to open up. I mean, that sucker's opening, boys. That center door, that moves. That is 100% not like completely connected right there. A Belgium company using a German law firm is no different than a Washington company using a New York law firm. Yeah, like I feel like that's actually not that abnormal. If it was like an American law firm or like Japanese law firm, it might be a little strange. I would bet that it's Larian. Do you know what I'm saying? I would bet that it's Larian. Like, just because the law firm, submitted it and they're not in the same city doesn't mean it's not Larian. That would be, a bit bizarre. We got more and more people pouring in today right now. As you're coming into the stream, if you're looking for information about the Game Awards, make sure you're hitting the like button. Try to get me to 200 likes. Also, consider hitting subscribe so you can talk in my chat. I will be one of the official co-streamers of the Game Awards tomorrow. I got my email from Geoff Keighley and the team. It's not like a personal email, like you go through like an approval process. So we will be one of the official co-streams of the events tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and do me a favor, double check that it's saving your thumbs up, that it's saving your like. That really helps us find more people and meet more folks out there that want to be a part of the conversation and a part of the dialogue here, as we're just hanging out and talking about video games and talking about the Game Awards. A lot of you are finding me on your home pages, or maybe you clicked on a suggested video, and we greatly appreciate you doing that. Thank you for being here. I would assume at this point, if it's not Larian would have directly denied it. Isn't the Larian developer saying they aren't making Divinity 3, kind of implying the statue isn't about Divinity? Why else would they say that? The question about Divinity Original Sin 3 was a completely separate question. Here, I'll show you. Also, the trademark is not for Divinity Original Sin. It's for Divinity. And you got to remember, Divinity Original Sin is basically like a spin-off. It's like a side. It's within the Divinity franchise, but it's not like Divinity. Does that make sense? Like it would be like, I can't think of a good example. Like, it's within the Divinity franchise, but they could make a Divinity game and it not be Original Sin. Does that make sense? So right here, he says, hey, they weren't meant to announce that yet. So it gets leaked that Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition's coming to PS5, okay? And this guy says, Divinity Original Sin 3 when? I need it, please. And he says, there aren't currently any plans for a new Divinity Original Sin 3 game, but once we are ready to show what we've been working on, we will. I think the most important part is right here. He's like, yeah, we're not doing Divinity Original Sin 3, but when we're ready to show what we've been working on, we're going to show it. And then we just so happen to have a trademark for this. And then the other trademark that accompanies it perfectly lines up with the statue. Come on, boys. Not even the thing that lines up with the statue. This lines up with the statue. You can overlay the eye, like with the circle eyeball thing in the middle. You can overlay that on the statue. So... I would take his comments as maybe a well-timed red herring. Like he's trying to throw people off the scent at the last minute. It's like, look, man, the jig is up. The jig is up, bro. We know that the Divinity is got something coming. Can't wait to share more on the first 3 updates for Ball Pit coming next year. You're not done with this game yet, not by a long shot. Looks like Ball Pit will probably be at the Game Awards. I don't know if they've officially confirmed that or not, but I would imagine if they're kind of heating up the marketing for their updates and stuff, I could see it. When we're ready, in 2 days. That's right. Then they are doing a PS5 version of Divinity Original Sin 2 Shadow Drop. Yeah, they could basically say, hey, while you're waiting for the next installment in the Divinity franchise, this is available right now. You know? Not bad. Not a bad prediction. Not a bad prediction. Yo, how are you, Captain Steve, man? Good to see you. With a 28-month renewal. New setting, YouTube. Only allow subs to comment. Gain 4K in a month. Change your settings, see if it helps you. Really? I saw that setting, Captain Steve, and I wondered if it was a bad idea. I appreciate the tip, as well as you're apparently getting good results from it. I would worry about them being bad subs. Are they subbing just to comment? And then, I guess the hope would be they would come back for more content, you know, or they would sub, leave the comment, and then unsub, which I guess isn't that big of a deal if they do it like right there in the moment. But we'll have to consider. We don't do a lot of. I mean, we're doing more uploads, so maybe we could do it on our uploads just to see if it helps a little bit, you know. Not a bad tip. I just thought it wasn't a great idea because I thought, man, it's really going to frustrate the user. You know, they go to comment, they're like, "Oh, going to sub to comment," you know, and then they're just going to get mad. Could lead to a bounce rate on a video. I don't believe a Divinity has ever dropped on the PlayStation. Certainly limits volume, but would also limit drive-bys. Tried on pre-recorded stuff and shorts. I don't on my live ones. Well, in the live environment, you have to be subscribed to talk, and the reason that we do that is because we don't want bots coming in, like, because you'll just get you'll get spam some days. Some days it doesn't do anything, but sometimes it's like the bots come in and spam. My only issue with Ball Pit is it got way too easy at the end. I didn't feel like it got easy at the end if you were trying to use more than like the easiest characters. As an official TGA, do you not have to worry about copyright? No, sadly, we don't get like whitelisted for all the copyright music. The funny thing is I don't even think the event itself gets whitelisted because Geoff's not paying a license for a copyrighted song in like a Call of Duty trailer or something. Does that make sense? So I think they even probably end up getting hit by it. I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to know. It's always been a bit of a frustration point where, you know, we'll be watching this whole event and having a good time, and then like 6 trailers in a row decide to play copyrighted music. How is TGA funded? Advertisements. Yeah. Anytime you see advertisements during the event, it's helping to fund it. And then people paying for the spots and paying for the trailer segments and stuff, that also helps fund it. So, yeah. All right, guys, we're close to 200 likes. Make sure you're hitting the like count while we're doing that. Let me check on the questions here. We got a couple questions in the queue, so make sure you're submitting the questions. Hilly says, has Larian said anything recently regarding the statue? No, they're being quiet. It is interesting that, you know, he's out here engaging with people about Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition coming to PlayStation. Like, he's engaging those people and that topic. You know. But I don't think they're going to confirm that it's real or say anything. I think they're going to let it do its thing. You know? I think they're going to let it do its thing. I think you're going to have the Larian CEO walk out at the event. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. There's also the chance that we get excuse me. There's also the chance that we get a, Half-Life 3 announcements today. And then we see, some Half-Life 3 gameplay or more tomorrow. I mean, that's always possible. Advertising funds it just like every show. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but I don't expect Larian to say anything about the Game Awards statue. They're gonna just be dead quiet about it. I don't think it was an accident that you had somebody from the company kind of engaging the topic of Divinity Original Sin 2 to potentially kind of throw people off. But I think, again, the jig is up. Like, you can clearly see the trademark. 5 months from Dylan the Villain. 2025 has been amazing, and 2026 looks even better. Oh, my wallet. Thank you for renewing your Prime over there on Purple. I appreciate it so much. We are 8 away from the next milestone. YouTube, you got a long way to go if you're going to try and catch Twitch today as an incentive. I'll gift a 20 bomb to each platform. If you can manage to tie Twitch today, we'll see if it's possible. Doom co-creator John Romero has revealed that his previous shooter was canceled, but elements of it live on in his latest secret project. So it looks like some of the stuff's going to get to continue on. Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2 are already on PlayStation. No, it's a definitive edition for Divinity Original Sin 2 that's coming to PlayStation. That got leaked. I think it got leaked by the store or something. Like, they got added to the back end, and one of the guys that's like the data mining found it. Yeah. So it's a definitive edition, and I don't necessarily know what that means. Updated, enhanced, something. Will there be anything about the next Mass Effect at the Game Awards? At this point, nothing confirmed. Appearances that get confirmed ahead of time are usually games that you already know about, like Soros from PlayStation. Like, they confirmed, yep, we're going to be there. We're going to show more gameplay. It'd be unusual for a game that hasn't been announced. I mean, or I guess it's kind of been announced. To be like, hey, we're going to be there. We're finally going to show you something. They would probably prefer that to be a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Interesting in this, seeing people stream it today. Cloudheim was the one that Captain Steve just asked me about. I've not seen much on it. It's an action RPG with online co-op, crafting and action. It's a 1 to 4 player action adventure that bleeds crafting with chaotic physics-based combat. Awaken forgotten deities, drive back corruption, and upgrade your shop. It looks like it kind of reminds me of Immortals Phoenix Rising a little bit. It feels a teeny bit like the generic, Unreal games that come out constantly. Combat looks pretty good, though. Build a thriving shop. This came out 6 days ago, and it has a 77, so its score is solid. Is it early access? Okay, that's actually a good score for early access. That means they're obviously working on things. So, yeah, I wouldn't be able to put much time into that game if it's PC only, because I game on the couch. Gives me the Immortals vibe. Yeah, Immortals Phoenix Rising. Immortals Phoenix Rising was a really, really good game. That game was right for co-op. It would have been really, really fun co-op. So... Mass Effect crowd, like me, will be more excited for Exodus and The Expanse. I think Exodus said... Did Exodus say they're going to be there? Or they're doing a countdown to something. The Exodus game? Aren't they doing like a countdown on Twitter? Here we go. Let me give them a follow. Oh, no. They've officially announced a small glimpse of what's to come at the Game Awards. Will you be watching? So yes, the Game Award, they will be at the Game Awards. New trailer in 3 days. So yes, they have officially announced that they will be there. So Exodus will be there. I don't know about the Expanse. I don't know if they've said anything. Let's see. Expanse game. Oh, doesn't seem like they have like an official. If they have an official Twitter, it's not under Expanse. It might be under like the dev's name or something. Ex-Naughty Dog director is going to show his new game at the Game Awards. Yes, I saw that. I saw that headline. Will there be anything about this? Reading chat. Owlcat. That's the dev's name. Okay. Owlcat Games. Oh, they are. They're making the Expanse. Let's see here. Have they made any announcements about the Expanse and the Game Awards? I'm not seeing anything on their Twitter feed. So if they are showing up and showing anything, yeah, they've not said anything. So we'll see. We shall see. Got another question here submitted by Wired Rope. How much backlash will Geoff get for Kirby Air Riders not being nominated for Game of the Year? You guys can submit questions like this and have them pop up like this if you use the question command, exclamation point question, and then type your question. Yeah, Kirby Air Riders came out a little too late to be in contention in the year, sadly. It came out a little bit too late. But we do have another question here from Johnny Always. Any hope that Sean will give us some Light No Fire news? I am really sort of not sure how to gauge what Hello Games is doing. When they announced Light No Fire, they basically said it had been in production for 5 years. And if they don't announce anything, if it's not out next year, like let's say it comes out in 2027, I think we added that up, and that would be like 8 years of development time, which, you know, is long, but with how ambitious they're being, it's sort of being a true open world, you know. They said they're going to be there. The world of Expanse is dangerous and unjust, but seeing it all makes the stars worth it. Oh, they did say they're going to be there. Where did they say that? Did they say it on Twitter? Because the thing that you have here doesn't say that. Oh, no, they didn't. Okay. Did I misread what you said? They said they are going to be there. I'm so excited. Oh, you were talking about somebody else maybe when you typed that. You were probably talking about Exodus maybe. Yeah, so as far as Light No Fire goes, I don't know what the timeline is. I don't know where they are. I don't know how long, it'll be before it's out. But, it's good, Light Leap. The statue is Hermaeus Mora. There's Daedra churls all over it. I'm not sure what you're saying, Baba Furk. Is that something from Divinity? What's the Happy Haps? Well, the Game Awards 2025 is tomorrow, and the Game Awards statue has been solved. So, ESO. Wait, is Baba Furk claiming that the stuff on the statue is ESO? I mean, the statue's been solved. It's not Elder Scrolls. It's not Elder Scrolls Online or Elder Scrolls. It is Divinity. I have a friend who is such a Star Wars and video games geek. He went to KOTOR, Montenegro for vacation just because of KOTOR. Oh my gosh. Larian, Valve, and PlayStation updates at the Game Awards. It's a gaming fan's dream. We don't get updates this often. That's right. Tomorrow for you guys, it's 12:30 a.m. for us in the UK. Okay. When is the show? It is tomorrow for people that aren't being persnickety. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. For you, those of you in the United Kingdom. I'm not sure how united your kingdom is anymore, but anyways. For those of you in the United Kingdom, it's in, I don't know how many hours. I don't know. Listen, I don't know when it is for you. I know when it is for me, and that's all that matters. Okay? All right? It's true. But that's just the way I view the world. Anyways, I'm actively checking the news feed to see if anything comes out, anything going on. Could say the same thing about the States, to be fair. That's true. We throw around the word united pretty liberally, right? We're just throwing it around, the United Kingdom, the United States of America. And, we're all just kind of here at this point, the existing, kingdom, the existing states of America. We're just kind of here. We're all in the same general geographic location at this point. It's Wednesday today for reference. Yeah. Currently. If you don't sleep, all the days go together. Yeah. Yep. If you just don't sleep, there are no days. Bumblepants with a question says, will Starfield get announced for when it's coming to PlayStation? And will that one guy know it? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure what the plan was with Starfield. It's obvious that there were rumblings about it coming over to PlayStation. And, there's obviously if you go back and watch our coverage on it, people claimed it was fake and made up and that I didn't have a source or whatever. It wasn't my source. It was multiple sources that didn't come to me. They came to somebody else who then came to me. I don't know if they changed plans. I don't know if the bad reception of that DLC, or maybe they just knew the DLC was going to be poorly received because the DLC was kind of terrible. So maybe they knew, and maybe they kicked the can down the road and said, let's wait. Maybe they feel that there needs to be more significant, 2.0 level changes for Starfield so they can bring it to PlayStation in a more of a triumphant move and not so like, yeah, hey, that game that doesn't have a great score anywhere with the users, like it's got a terrible score on Steam and a bad score on Xbox. Yeah, we're bringing that game over to PlayStation. Like, you need to give it, a bit of a bounce back. You know what I mean? You gotta give this thing a bit of a turnaround. I mean, this is abysmal for Bethesda. A 57%. This is bad. Less than 100,000 scores as well for a Bethesda game on Steam. It's been out for 2 years. Doesn't even have 100,000 score, like 100,000 reviews. I mean, this was. No matter what people want to do, you want to couch it as being a console warrior or whatever. Like, I was very excited for the game and hyped about it. I mean, I got shorts where I'm like defending the game because I felt like some of the early comparisons to No Man's Sky weren't fair. But then the game came out. I don't know what to tell you. It just did not do well for them. It's a very, very bad look for Bethesda. And so I think you want to bring that game over to PlayStation, where you arguably have a very large Bethesda fan base. Like, if you look at the sales of Fallout 4, I mean, on PlayStation specifically at launch. So I would imagine they're going to want to put it into a better place because it doesn't have a great score and it doesn't have a great standing with the public. You can post screenshots of the Metacritic all you want. That's like 100 people roughly I trust the thousands upon thousands of people that have scored it significantly lower than the review outlets. People conveniently cite review outlets as great and reliable, and then they don't. Like, if a game does really well, people are like, yeah, well, the media and Larian with but then they'll turn around and they'll use those same outlets to talk about how great their favorite game scored or whatever. I've always said that the user score on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox are the best barometer of a game's quality. They are. Anytime we talk about Game of the Year and the jury process, and I cite Metacritic and OpenCritic, I am citing them for mathematical reasons. I'm saying, listen, within the jury process, this is the most probable games that will get nominated and then subsequently win different categories, right? That's a mathematical argument. When it comes to the receptability, the value, the quality, that barometer of a game, I'm always checking Steam and I'm always checking PlayStation. And given that reality and what Starfield looks like when you go look at those scores right now, if Bethesda is still bringing it to PlayStation, they're going to need to put a lot of spit shine on it and give it a 2.0 moment. That's just my opinion. I don't have to be right or wrong about this. That's just what I think. I think that if you're going to bring it over to a seemingly big and potentially your largest audience. I mean, you have a much bigger audience for Bethesda games probably over there, and a very, very big footprint of consoles at this point, 80 to 85 million consoles, almost 3 times as many consoles in circulation than Xbox at this point, this gen in particular, where Starfield can be played. 3 times the footprint. You want to put your best foot forward, and Starfield at its current condition is not a great foot forward for them. So, PlayStation Plus catalog gets an update in December. This is actually a pretty good list of games here. AC Mirage, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, Skate Story, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, and then Cat Quest 3. That's not a bad little run of games there. I really wish that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was like totally co-op. It's like weird side mission co-op. Dylan the Villain, thank you so much. I missed this 16 minutes ago. I am so sorry about this, Dylan. You resubscribe with your Prime for 5 months. Let me add you to the total. Getting us a little bit closer to the next milestone. Thank you so much. The quest loop in Starfield was boring for me, and I dropped out with bugs. What's more interesting than a Metacritic score is why someone thinks a game is good. Todd Howard will be there. Not my Bethesda. Well, Todd Howard is there presenting. That doesn't necessarily mean they're there to announce anything. So, yeah, and like Sentry is saying over here, on Twitch, I mean, it could be that they're waiting to drop it with another maybe they want another big DLC. It's possible they're going to try to have a cyberpunkian, moment. Maybe they're going to try and have a Phantom Liberty moment. So that is certainly a possibility that they're going to try to package it with something that is giving it that kick and that bump that it needs. So interesting turn of events. The icons that spurred on a ton of speculation are no longer available. They might have been a concept that's no longer valid to PlayStation, or they're just older icons that were not removed from the back end. Oh, the PS5, PC, and cross-buy icons, they're no longer showing in profiles. Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't... I don't know. It could have been old stuff, and it could have been Ghost in the Machine. I felt like it heavily hinted for... I think it heavily hinted that they were thinking and considering doing a launcher, but it all could have been nothing. I could see Starfield PS5 announcement at the Game Awards. The original thing about Starfield coming to PS5 was once the DLCs are out, countdown 90 days. That is true. I believe Xbox Era reported that that's what they had heard. So that could still be at play. Could have been cross wires about how many DLCs. I completely forgot about that. It could be that Starfield coming to PS5 was never going to be a fast thing. Maybe they knew we got a long road ahead of us here if we're going to want to really put this game on another platform. They had to know that reception wasn't going to be very strong. They had to. I don't know. If they were going for a Phantom Liberty moment, they would have been doing updates for Starfield at a rapid clip. They've done a lot of updates in quality of life stuff. I mean, they've done a pretty heavy amount of patches and updates. Now, not maybe to the degree that Cyberpunk was getting, but certainly it has been happening. So it's not like they just up and stopped doing stuff. Now, also, they could be thinking, we need the next updates to be gargantuan, you know. If they want the next update, you know, to be of significant size, you know, I think that that could be why maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're doing a lot in one, you know, update. It'd be hilarious and heartwarming if Robert Pattinson presents the Best Game Award. That would maybe be a little too on the nose, maybe. I don't know. For them to do the meme of like Pattinson looks like, you know, a character that was played by a very capable actor named Charlie Cox. Yo, Mike, thank you for the Member Plus renewal over here on YouTube, putting us at 344. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it'd be funny, obviously. But maybe I don't know. Maybe they want to avoid something that might be seen as a little too tongue in cheek, you know. Who's the celebrity going to be this year? Nick Cage? I don't know. Jeffrey Wright is going to be there. You know, Jeffrey Wright's going to be there, but he's involved with the what's the game? Dispatch, and he was in Last of Us season 2. So that might be why he's involved. You know. Time to build a Lono a statue. That's right. That's right. Where's my statue? Let me add you to the total here. 345 on the week. 51 months. Thank you so much. BH321D1. We are exactly a 5 bomb away from 350. Whoever hits it gets it. It's your opportunity to shrink the lead a little bit, YouTube. Twitch is just running away with it. TJ Boom Boom comes in with 38 months. Thank you so much for maintaining your support of the channel with a Member Plus. Welcome back in. Guys, a really, really easy way to support what we're doing right now is to hit that like button. We're 18 likes away from 200. Let's get that 200 like count. And Frank with a question. This is something that members and subs can do. What do you think Kojima talks about for 10 minutes? I mean, I don't know. Lono doesn't check his. Doesn't check what? Will there be another Indiana Jones Great Circle DLC coming out soon? I feel like they had 2 planned, right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Charlie Cox might be there. Yeah. Given he's done a lot of interviews about the game. Yeah. Haven't been excited for TJ since 2021, but somehow I am for this one. Well, that's, yeah. There's, you don't always have to be excited. But yeah. No, I check out my Twitch stream. I have both chats pulled up. Yeah. I do. Okay. He talks about classic films for 10 minutes. No Muppets. The Muppets are going to be there. Get over it. The OA with 26 months of Member Plus. They get announced. Charlie Cox and Pattinson comes up on stage. 2 years and change and counting. Best community on YouTube right here. Thank you so much, the OA. I appreciate that. We are now 3 away. Oh, hang on. I got to mute the ring. I was like, why is my phone lighting up? Mute the ring. I'm going to have to find, I've got a cable or a cord or something out there that shorten out the Christmas lights when it rains. So I'm going to have to find it. You basically have to wait until it's happening and then process of elimination, like unplug and plug in cables in order to find it. What is this announcement for? Okay. Who said Muppets was not a classic film? People get really weird about the Muppets, man. We all grew up with them. It's okay that they're there. I want to see the Muppet boxing game again. It's called Felt That. Felt, like a play on felt, because you make puppets out of felt. Yeah. They definitely haven't said much about when it's coming. It'd be a good time to update everybody. Yeah. It'd be a good time. Why so much Muppet dislike? People aren't happy. Is Sesame Street considered Muppets? It was Jim Henson, wasn't it? Wasn't it the same guy? But I don't think they called them the Muppets. I mean, it was a different thing. It was a different brand. I thought wasn't he a part of the team behind Sesame Street? I actually can't remember now. But yeah, it's the Game Awards get criticism for things that I feel like people just want criticism. Like, I feel like it would get to the point where, like, if the show was perfect and flawless and there was nothing wrong, people would be like, I don't like the tie that Keighley wore. Does that make sense? It's like, I get tired of all the announcements and trailers. What the frick? Why? Why? What's the problem with that? It's like, huh? And they'll be like, you stupid Muppets. Why are the Muppets there? And it's like, because they're fun. They're entertaining. Like, you know, the old guys making fun of Keighley last year that was some of the best entertainment. That was some of the best part of the show. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fine. Sven says, over under on a Chris Judge 10-minute speech. Yeah, let me clear out the question commands. We're not getting serious questions. We're getting joke questions today. Yeah, they're you know, obviously the 1 year, you know, Judge went too long. Pacino went too long. He was, I don't even know if Pacino was sober, but yeah, there was definitely an overreaction, because like the next year, like they were like rushing people off the stage. They're like, oh yeah, thank you, we're so excited, I really want to thank my mom, and they're like, they're like, get off the stage. And it's like they barely got like 2 words out. So me personally, I want God of War 1 remake or trilogy remake to be revealed at the Game Awards, which would make sense. It's still technically the 20th anniversary of the God of War franchise. Yeah, there's also the alleged Metroidvania God of War game that we've heard about. So, yeah, please wrap it up. Yeah. It was like, please wrap it up was like on the screen when they got up there. We need 15 more likes on the video, y'all. The question queue has been cleared. The question queue has been cleared. And I'm just continually checking the news feed to see if anything is developing for the Game Awards 2025 as we kind of wait. And also, there is the possibility that we get the Half-Life 3 announcements today. Harrison Ford was on one that night. Yeah. I think some of these guys get there and they have like open bar and food and everything else, and they get a little party in them. And then they're like, oh shoot, I gotta go out and present. How am I gonna do that? And then they go out and they attempt to present, and it ends up being a bit of a disaster. Don't mind them in the Game Awards, made a little entertaining, but in general never cared for the Muppet movies and stuff. Yeah, like I don't typically like go out of my way for the Muppets. Like I don't. If that, what I'm saying, like if that makes sense. Like I don't go out of my way for the Muppets. I grew up with the Muppets. So, Stone Spire, thank you so much for a gifted member. Let me add you to the total. 3 48. Oh, Stonespire might be doing something today. There he is. I know what he's doing. He's going to snipe that 350. He's like, boys, what are we doing? What are we doing? An easy milestone. And he's going to take it for himself. Thank you so much. If you guys rally the troops on YouTube, and you can tie Twitch today, there it is, 350. I owe you guys a member. Cardoc Ren's going to make it a little bit harder, though, and he's going to drop a 5-bomb on Twitch. And we are exactly a 20-bomb away. From the next milestone of 375. Let me pay up over here and gift you guys the member that I owe you on YouTube. But yeah, if YouTube can manage to tie Twitch today, I'm going to give a 20-bomb to each platform. Gonna give a 20-bomb to each platform. There it is. There's the one that I owe you. Good job, Mr. Stonespire. Comes in on his lunch break and just blesses people. You love to see it. Cardoc Renz has missed it. Yeah, you missed it. You tried to snipe it, and you missed it. Yo, what's good, Crack Baby Music? How are you? W Stream, thank you. Do you think we'll get anything Star Wars Fallen Order 3 at the Game Awards? I'd love it. I would absolutely love that. Yes. I loved the first one. Once they got Survivor to a playable state, I really, really liked it. So Jedi Survivor came out when? 2 years ago? I think. Was it 2023? Yeah, it was 2023. So like April of 2023. So, you know, it might be time to announce the next one. Those two games, Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, were, how far apart were they? They were 5 years apart, though. So I don't know if they were working on. Cameron Monaghan indicated that they were working on the third one. Sorry about my comment earlier. I thought Lona didn't pay much attention to Twitch chat. Again, my apologies. Back to my home inspections. No, you're fine. Sometimes I can't see the Twitch chat because I've got different things pulled up on my screen. And so I might miss something that you say, and then I'll come back and try to read it. I'm doing my best. I got a Discord chat, a YouTube chat, a Twitch chat. I'm trying to pull up Twitter. I'm trying to pull up videos and articles. So sometimes stuff just gets past me. It's not because I'm like choosing to not read. It's just, it slips past me sometimes. That's all. When did they finish the second game? When was it actually playable? I don't know. Bro, the end of Act 2 and Expedition 33. What's our meme? What is it? Wait until? Yeah. So I hate to do it to you. But yeah, wait until. That game's got quite the crescendo. You're playing Fallen Order? Fallen Order is a really good time. I played Fallen Order twice. I increased the difficulty and went back and replayed it. I loved it. Flip for an Alien, Star Descent 2, criminally underrated. The first, that is. Lono got 6 monitors set up like the Matrix over there. I actually have one that I'm not even using over here. You know, I actually could use that one. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could use that one for Twitch chat just so I never miss anything. Like, I wouldn't necessarily need to look over there, but I could see movement, you know? I'm not seeing any movement. But, yeah. I use that one when Madam and I, when we play, if we play 2 games, that's when I use that one. No, the I'm not seeing any movement is a meme. Ninja was doing like a New Year's show, and they shouldn't have made him do this. They made him go out on like the balcony. It's like raining and like people are down below, and they made him do the floss dance with like the arm thing going back and forth that like the kids do, and he was trying to get people down there to do it, and nobody did. And he's like, I'm not seeing any movement. he's leaned into it well. Like he's accepting of the meme because it was funny. Yeah. I split the program's chat and Discord on one monitor when streaming while gaming on the main monitor. Yeah, I might. You know what? I might do that too because whenever I'm playing a game, like I have to put the chats over here, and they're all on top of each other. I've got Discord, I've got YouTube chat and Twitch chat, like all over here. It's a lot. At the Video Game Awards, I reckon we'll see NFT games that started development a few years back. doubt, big time doubt. Yeah, that went nowhere fast. I loved how they were like, we're going to do it. And then they were like, no, we're not. And then a couple of the companies were like, okay, we're actually going to try and sneak it back in. And hopefully nobody notices that we're sneaking it back in. And and then they were like, just kidding, we're not doing it again. Yeah, Web3. Web3 is the future, boys. It's the future. The metaverse is the future. My favorite thing about all of that is nobody even really could define it, and yet they were insistent upon it being the future. And I was like, that's fantastic. It's like, we're going to live on an island out there. Out where? Out there. Where? Over there. Okay. I'm not getting in your boat. This is insane. I'm not. Yeah, freaking NFT bros were insufferable. Oh my gosh, they were annoying. It was literally like the gamer bro version of the pyramid scheme moms on Facebook. It was like the same thing. They were very confident in what amounted to a scam. I remember trying to explain that to people. I was like, the only way the value increases is if interest perpetually increases. It's not possible. You are literally falling prey to what is essentially, it was kind of like a pyramid scheme. Kind of. But it also wasn't. I was like, I don't know what's going on. It was funny. It died pretty quickly. The entire marketplace has crashed. Yeah, people lost a lot of money. Will we ever see the next Last of Us game within 4 years? Yeah, there's been a lot of dialogue about that. Like, is Naughty Dog going to skip an entire generation? Because I think they were planning on the Last of Us factions to be their stopgap. So, like, obviously, they did a great job in 2020 with Last of Us Part 2. It gets Game of the Year. Hey, it's been 5 years. What are y'all doing? And we're hearing like, oh, Intergalactic won't be out until 2027, which is like right at the end of the gen. And they're like, man, in the past, Naughty Dog's cadence was so much better. I think their cadence was better. I also think they had an easier time with cadence when they were doing sequels. I also think game development back then was faster. And I also think they're doing a new IP, which is going to take longer. I think it sucks that they decided to do what they did with The Last of Us Online. I think they got ahead of themselves, as so many people have. They got ahead of themselves, and they really thought they were going to be able to do, what Fortnite was able to do, and they were going to do it with, they were going to do it with a game mode, as it were, and they wasted a lot of time, and it screwed up their cadence. Instead of having that game come out, and then we're like, oh, cool, that game came out. And then 2 years later, they have another game come out. Instead of doing that, like, that would have been a perfectly fine time to have Intergalactic come out if you had something in between. Well, they didn't, because they canceled it, right? They basically had... Bungie walked in the room and said, you guys don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. Like, you're going to need the entire studio dedicated to this. And listen, at the time they got that feedback from Bungie, Bungie knew firsthand what was happening when you shift bandwidth away from a live service game. They knew. They had shifted bandwidth away from Destiny 2 to spin up incubation projects, and it was actively hurting Destiny. So, like, Bungie knows full well when they walk in that room, they're like, you guys don't have a clue the bandwidth required to keep a game like this running. You are out of your depth. You're out of your depth. And so, because, Bungie was experiencing that firsthand behind the scenes. So I think a lot of times people are like, what right did Bungie have to, walk in the room and tell Naughty Dog that, they're not going to be able to get this game off the ground or what have you? And it's like, Bungie was quite literally living proof that you can't do it with just like a small group. They had carved bandwidth away from Destiny 2, and it instantly hurt their quality. It instantly hurt their momentum, and it's put them in the position that they're finding themselves in currently right now, where they've just the game's slowed down too much, and the population in the game has shrunk too much, and they're in a bad spot, right? And so that sucks that Naughty Dog's basically going to be like, oh yeah, our last game was at the very end of the PS4 gen, and their next game is going to be at the very end of the PS5 gen. It sucks. There's no other way to talk about it. I mean, I can intellectually understand everything that happened. It doesn't make it suck any less. It's like, man, this sucks that you guys did this. You could have had something ready to go. You could have, Intergalactic might have been ready. I don't know. You might have had something else in the pipeline. The fact of the matter is, I don't think the team working on factions slowed them down that much. Like, oh man, Intergalactic would be out already. It was probably a distraction and a waste of resources. More than likely, what they would have done then is they would have had people to start working on The Last of Us Part 3 instead of wasting time on factions, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think if you would have taken the team working on factions and just like threw them at Intergalactic, like, oh yeah, that automatically means Intergalactic would have come out faster. I mean, maybe not. Maybe whoever was working on that, those systems and whatever would be going into factions, maybe they wouldn't be able to do much for Intergalactic at all, because Intergalactic is, it's not an online game. It's not a multiplayer game. So I think the rumored Fallout 3 or New Vegas remake could definitely be announced at the Game Awards, especially with the timing of the Fallout Season 2 around the corner. Possibly. I saw Maddie Plays video about the state of the Fallout community and some stuff that happened recently. They don't seem very happy. So might be time to bring back some goodwill there. They wasted too much time. They could have had an Uncharted 5 out between that time. Oh, I don't agree with that. I don't think the number of people working on factions could have cranked out Uncharted 5. Like in 2019, they say, hey, let's slice this off. It's getting too big. I also think they looked at Fortnite and said, hey, we can do the same thing. Factions was popular in The Last of Us Part 1. Let's slice it off and let's go for that almighty live service dollar. I don't think the team that was working on that could have been like, yep, we made Uncharted 5. We would have seen something else from Naughty Dog in that time. Yeah, but we don't know that. To think that whatever team was working on factions was enough bandwidth to make an entire game, I think is incredibly presumptuous. Whatever they were building for factions, I highly doubt was at the depth, breadth, and scope of a game where you're doing mocap and writing and a script and an entire campaign. It wasn't going to be that. It was going to be an online game with, like probably a contained weapon system and a contained map. And like, just, I have a very, very hard time believing that the team working on factions was capable of, and the size and the bandwidth of, like, a studio basically that could have cranked out like an Uncharted or a Last of Us. I have a very hard time believing that. It was probably a pretty small team, which is quite literally why they got humbled. It was like, this isn't enough people. We have a poster for Supergirl in theaters June 26th. I love the vibe. Truth, justice, whatever. Intergalactic is a new IP. It takes longer to develop. 7 years isn't crazy. I don't disagree with you. 7 years for a brand new IP from a studio like Naughty Dog actually makes sense to me. Being like, well, the team that was working on like a contained live service game could have made an Uncharted 5. Like, yeah, I highly doubt that. Maybe it's me, but I see the number of people worried about how fast a game comes out when these same people will overlook or ignore the game, that game when it's ready for release. They really copy and pasted factions from TLU, and we're working on adding maps from TLU 2 and working on ways of making a live service game. They didn't waste a ton of time or materials on it. I also don't think that signals to me that it was a really, really big team. Like, it was this big, giant team that just wasted, 5 years. It's like, okay, what that team could have built in 5 years could have helped and been a part of Intergalactic, or it could have helped and been a part of the next Last of Us or something, but I don't know. It stands to reason that they didn't have a big team working on it, given the scope of a live service game is not even remotely the same as a whole new Uncharted or a whole new Last of Us. Didn't the first TLU have live service or a multiplayer game? Yes. And they were working on it for the sequel. They decided that they were going to split it off and have it be its own thing. I think two things happened. I think they were getting ambitious with it, and they were doing more. And then they saw Fortnite explode, and they said, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should slice this off and have it be its own thing. They aren't making a Crimson Desert, and we all still don't trust Crimson Desert. What did you say here? Factions 2? Oh, I just wish we would have gotten Factions 2 with The Last of Us. No need for live service, just make an updated version. I have a ton of fun with the original, probably about 50 hours. I actually think that's the loss. I think people look at the situation backwards, and they're like, we could have gotten Uncharted 5. I probably don't think so. Like, that seems really unlikely. The team that was working on that in The Last of Us Part 2, factions, and then they sliced that team off and they were trying to build their own thing. I highly doubt they were big enough to build an Uncharted 5. The actual loss is that it should have just been built and contained and included with The Last of Us Part 2. Or they could have just shipped it when they shipped The Last of Us Part 2 remake. You know what I mean? I think that's the loss, is that they didn't just build it as a contained thing to ship with the game. Instead, people are fixating on, I think, the wrong thing. Like, well, that team could have made Uncharted. Like, probably not. Can you identify with the fact that today, as Husband and Father 2, I gravitate towards smaller games or AA? The thought of putting 100 hours in a game today is exhausting. Yes, I 100% resonate with that. I've talked about that recently. I get to 20 or 25 hours, and I need the game to be wrapping it up. I'm like, okay, wrap it up. I need to be rolling credits. I want to move on to the next thing. It's an exception. Like, I loved Yote so much, I hit 63 hours. I'm hitting like 160 hours in Returnal recently. Like, certain games are the exception, but by and large, yet my life is not conducive. It's not conducive to a live service game right now. It's not conducive to, a game taking me 100-something hours. Like, I got to 30-something hours in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to be done. Didn't they publicly say they weren't doing the next Uncharted? They said that the way he phrased it was like they were done with the story, maybe. They also could be working on one with Cassie Drake, and maybe that's like a new story to them. The way he did the interview, it 100% sounded like they were done, yes. So, I don't know. The way he phrased it, it was a little open-ended. It was a little open-ended, but in any case, we'll obviously have to wait. I like the AC Shadows, but man, the anime collab was slop. I thought that was fake when I first saw it. I didn't think it was real. I don't know what the frick they were doing. They could have done it like Night Rain. Small team, does periodic updates, just release a small standalone thing. I mean, it's possible they could have done that. And maybe that was the plan. But I think Bungie basically just kind of walked in the room and said, you're going to need quite a bit more bandwidth. Hang on, what's this? Hang on, mama. For P would be better, I think. It's kind of late, isn't it? Bungie has experience on making ongoing live service game that needed to turn a major profit every year. Naughty Dog didn't need to make that. Well, and it's possible that the aspirations of the project is why they said that. I didn't pick up Bramble, no. Is Bramble on PlayStation? Like, I just don't have time to come in and play games in the office here. 4.5 out of it's got basically a 90%. It's not on sale. It's not on sale on PlayStation. What kind of a game is it? Like, I remember people talking about it. But it was on sale for like $6 on Steam. I don't know if it still is. Supergirl trailer is tomorrow at noon. Okay. Okay, Sven has some Hail Marys here. To expand the convo, my Game Awards Hail Mary is Jedi 3, Darksiders 4, Dante's Inferno. I mean, it doesn't sound like a Hail Mary. It just sounds like a wish list. You're like, please, I would love for this to be real. I don't want to hurt your schedule. Oh, I'm coming. Well, then, how long is the movie? 2D horror vibe, side-scroller with some puzzles and a few bosses. 2D horror vibe, side-scroller. Yeah, I'm not really in the mood for that right now, so I'll probably skip it. I remember playing through Little Nightmares and really liking it. Like, I loved 1 and 2. Obviously, the third one was a bit of a disappointment. But, yeah, I'm not in the mood for that right now. You got to be in the mood for that kind of a game. Okay. You said me and the kiddos. Oh, with me and the kiddos. So if we went to the 7 one, we wouldn't get home until like after 9. So I gotta be done like 3:30 on the 18th. What's the 18th? Is anything coming out? They're so late. Well, yeah, but then we get back super late and you push the whole thing back. The thing won't start until 7:30, 9:30, by 10. I don't like that. That eats into the whole evening. Let me just make sure. I don't think anything major is happening that day, so I could be basically upstairs ready to go at 3:30. Let's see here. Games. Da-da-da-da. I don't think anything's happening on the 18th. It's just like a random Thursday, right? Yeah, the 19th is an update, is the Avatar DLC. Yeah, that should be fine, Mama. We could do the 4. I don't want the whole evening eaten up. Because then we get back and we can't do anything. Stop it. I want to watch TV and play video games. Okay, we got a couple of questions in the queue. We need just 2 more likes for 200 likes. I am going to need just a quick break. We're going to go a little bit longer today just in case the Half-Life 3 thing happens. So just in case that happens, we're going to go a little bit longer today so we're able to react and pivot. I've got a thumbnail and a description for a stream just in case it happens. But I am going to run upstairs super quick, and then I'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. You can submit questions while I'm gone, and double check that you've hit the like button as well. And Kingstar, Game of the Year 33, make American gaming great again. Make American gaming great again. Yeah, it's so terrible, as pretty much every game I played this year was amazing. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't check where the developers were from. All right, I'll be right back. Y'all are the best. What game am I waiting for the most now? Saros, the spiritual sequel to Returnal. That's my most anticipated game. After that, probably Wolverine. We're looking forward to Wolverine. Yep. There are some big games. Some exciting games coming out. Yep. Checking the feeds. Checking the feeds. Not seeing anything. Okay. Tides of Annihilation and Phantom Blade Zero. Those are two really good choices. Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero looks crazy. Tides of Annihilation looks kind of like a little too ambitious. We'll see. I think that's the one that has like performance trouble in the trailer. So we shall see. Started playing Silent Hill F. It's good. Still don't like it carrying the name when it's not set in the town. It's weird to an extent. Everything is very Silent Hill except for the setting. Intergalactic will definitely be the best game this gen. Rockstar can't even touch Naughty Dog. I don't know. I actually think they're very, very close to each other. I think they have like different, goals. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is considered like one of the greatest games of all time. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think The Last of Us Part 1, especially now that you can play it with like, it looks next gen. It doesn't look like an old game. I believe it's one of the greatest games ever made as well. But mixture of great gameplay and story makes Naughty Dog number one. I mean, I don't think the shooting and the combat's that great in Red Dead 2. I think the combat's exceptional in The Last of Us Part 2. But I also think they're separated by quite a bit of time, right? Yeah, I mean, 2 years. So Red Dead comes out 2018. Last of Us Part 2 comes out 2020. Also, Last of Us Part 2 combat feels really, really good in the remaster, which is that's where I played it. So it has a bit of an advantage there. It's been polished up. It's been improved. I don't know. I think Rockstar brings a lot to the table. Also, an open world versus a more streamlined game. Yeah, I think that's always going to adjust certain quality points. So, like, if you go open world, certain things are going to get dumbed down, like, a little bit. Like, Horizon Forbidden West would be a good example of, like, a really, really quality game from a PlayStation studio that doesn't quite have the emotional story punch of The Last of Us, but then The Last of Us is not in this big, huge open world. So, like, you're kind of trading something, one for the other. So I think comparing them is a little difficult. So, like T-Lu's combat is better than Red Dead's. I think I could agree with that. Like, my opinion would be that, yes, T-Lu 2's combat's quite good and quite expansive, but it's also not an open world game. So, like, Red Dead gets to shine in other departments, right? Like the open world activities, the hunting, robbing a train, robbing a stranger. Like, it's got its own emergent things that can happen that are pretty enjoyable. I think The Last of Us Part 2's combat system, with respect to how its dynamism and its emergence, like how things just can kind of go crazy and go very different depending on how you play, I think just isn't talked about enough. I think like they built something that's really, really unmatched. But again, I think it'd be really tough to do that in an open world. So they're able to leverage some of those things. Last prediction for the Game Awards. What do you think this will be? God of War is still there. People are still. Did Pyro not see? He's asking what for people to weigh in and ask what it is. Did he miss it? Here, let me help him out. Let's reply with a Divinity image. It's not hard to have better combat than Red Dead 2. Yo, Colin, thank you so much for 43 months in a Prime. Let me add that to the total. I think that if Red Dead 2 got like a remaster, 60 FPS, and they went in and kind of spit shine that combat, made it feel a little bit better, I think it'd be a force to be reckoned with. Like, I think people would really see it, you know, with sort of like with eyes anew. Like, oh my gosh, this is such a great game. You know, the dialogue, the writing, the voice acting, the graphics have aged incredibly well. I think the lighting is its biggest weakness because it's just old lighting systems. They just don't look quite as good as GI looks now. You know, ray tracing, global illumination, GI. It really, really elevates the visual quality of a game. So, if they could bring that to Red Dead 2, I mean, that'd be incredible. I don't know if that's even possible. Dive into the world of Destiny 2 to explore the mysteries of the solar system and experience responsive first-person shooter combat, unlock powerful elemental abilities, and collect unique gear, customize your Guardian look and playstyle. Lipscomb, why are you pasting that? What's that with regards to? Like, is there a news story or something? I played Red Dead 2 so much, I don't even want to look at the game anymore. I'm enjoying Red Dead 1, but it has some old game jank that's annoying for sure. Yeah, I mean, I walked around for a little bit, was super impressed. Was super impressed with what the work that they had done, and it took me right back to when I was playing it way back in the day. But I have a really, really hard time playing older games. I have a really hard time with it. It's like, as soon as you start to hit some of those rough edges, it's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't. And also, I have a hard time going back and replaying an old game that I've already played. Like, I played so much Red Dead back in the day. I would be like in a party with my friend, just playing it all day, every day. It's like, I don't really want to relive this. It's a great memory, and it doesn't hit. Yeah, Zinthos, exactly. It doesn't quite hit the same now, so it's like I don't want to go back and like sour the memory. Like, I remember when I got the flaming horse in the DLC, like, I was so excited. Like, I took a picture of my television with my phone, like a true boomer, you know. They change it. I don't understand, Lipscomb. I'm not sure what you're trying to tell me. They changed what with Destiny? They've like added that or changed that to the description of the game somewhere? You think Kotor Remote will be an RPG with party members? I have no idea. I never played Red Dead 1, so it's great for me, even though with old gameplay. Yeah, I think if you've never played it, it's probably aged pretty well. Excuse me. I just sneezed. Yeah, it's probably aged pretty well. Even the first one. Yeah, on Steam. I'm not sure I'm following. What you've got to connect some dots for me, Lipscomb. You came in and just pasted that. What? There's got to be more to this, and you're like, oh, they changed the description of Destiny 2. Okay. Dive into the world of Destiny 2 to explore the mysteries of the solar system and experience responsive first-person shooter combat, unlock powerful elemental abilities, and collect unique gear. I'm confused. Is there? Do you have a theory? Are people thinking something is going on? What's the significance of it, do you think? I got a question here from Mick D09. Any rumors on the official name of the last installment of the Final Fantasy VII Remake? No. Dylan the Villain says, looking ahead, is there anything with a 2026 release date that has you hyped? Saros, Wolverine. There's a couple other ones. PlayStation games in 2026 blog. They've got their little blog that they put out. Yeah, they put out this blog here. So yeah, Wolvie, Resident Evil 9, Lego Batman. I think all are good. I think Onimusha looks really, really good. Saros is the thing I'm excited the most about. 007 First Light, I'm very mid on. I don't think it's going to be a mid game. I'm kind of in the middle. It looks a little rough in the trailers. Crimson Desert, I still think looks just... I don't know. It looks too ambitious, like it's going to struggle. I'm not a fighting game guy, so Fighting Souls doesn't do much for me. I think Pragmata looks really, really cool. Resident Evil looks great. I love playing games like Directive 8020 with my wife. For you guys, we have a really good time with it. Blood of the Dawnwalker's got a lot of potential. So yeah, you know, those are definitely some games that I am excited about, looking forward to. Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero. Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero. It's a solid year next year, man. There's some solid titles coming. Red Dead 2 back when it came out felt like a tech test for GTA. I mean, I think anytime a game company is doing something new, they're testing a little bit. They're trying new things, pushing boundaries. Experimenting and whatnot. Still not impressed with Phantom Blade Zero yet. It's the responsiveness that has me intrigued. It's the responsiveness, like how quickly, the character seems to be able to respond to blocks and parries. Definitely has me interested. I mean, there's definitely some potential for some really, really crazy fights and some really, really, some real intense, frenetic combat. It could be really, really good. It could be a little too ambitious. It could go off the rails. But from what we've seen, a lot of Flash, no substance. Obviously, haven't held a controller yet. Well, yeah. I mean, once you get your hands on and you're doing these some of these blocks and some of these parries, it's like, man, oh man, I wonder what that's gonna feel like. You think the big Larian RPG next year is too much on top of the games you said? Who said it's next year? I don't necessarily think we have any indication that this trademark and this announcement's next year. We'll say it was. If it is, I don't know when it would land. If they try to land late in the year, you're going to be right at loggerheads with GTA 6. I know some games are big enough to kind of stand on their own. I think anything from Larian certainly has the potential to do just fine. But yeah, I think it's a challenge. Crimson Desert, I think it's going to be good. I think everything about Crimson Desert looks good. It just looks too good to be true. The graphical fidelity and the number of NPCs in some of those early pieces of footage they released, it just looked too good to be true. Funny enough, some of their recent footage that they've released, some of the lighting, reflections, and number of NPCs has seemingly been toned down. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't know, dude. And they've got their own proprietary engine, and I think they said something to the effect of, they've had like a breakthrough or something. Like I don't know if they've said much other than some kind of generic statement about it. But it's one of those things where, like, when you're looking at gameplay of something, I think you can sort of see when something is too good to be true. Like, you kind of know what these systems are capable of. You know what these systems can do. And you see something, you're just like, yeah, I don't know about that, dude. Like, yeah, on a really nice PC, sure, but that's not even a big portion of the market. Like, people with really, really strong PCs are a very, very small percentage of the market. So it's like, I don't know why you would make a game that targets that audience. Like, yep, you can run this game, and everybody else is like struggling to run it. You're not gonna do great with sales if you do that. It'll be another title that performs badly on console and requires a 4090, 5090 to brute force. I mean, I certainly hope not. You know, I certainly hope not. If Larian's game does anything in 2026, it's starting early access. Given how well it went for them in Baldur's Gate 3, I could see that. Yeah. I could see that them doing early access with their next game. Yeah. Let's see here. A question from Khalid says, assuming Expedition 33 wins Game of the Year in almost all the other categories, what do you think other studios and developers could learn from Sandfall's experience? Well, I mean, I think it's obvious that you can speak kind of generic and platitudinous about this and be like, well, you just need passion. That's not saying much. I mean, it is saying something, but like, I think something developers can learn from the situation is basically you can't move a game with just tactical choices. Does that make sense? Like, I think a lot of the times you got like corporate suits in the room and they're being so purely tactical. They're looking at genres and they're looking at opportunities and they think, well, we can make that game or we can do that thing too. And then you end up with games like Concord. I think you end up with games like Marathon. You end up with games like, there's just this soullessness to them. It just feels like a calculation. It almost feels like you had AI make the decision. Like, hey, what kind of game should we make? And it's like, crunching the numbers. And it's like, yeah, well, it seems these types of genres are popular. And you're like, okay, we're going to make one of those. I think another good example is like Arc Raiders, where like they just had to admit the hard truth of like, yeah, this isn't really fun. Like when they were playing Arc Raiders PvE, they were having a good time, but they were really honest about longevity. And they were like week on week, month on month, they were like, it was going to get boring. And I think that's sometimes a very, very hard thing for companies to admit. You can also end up with a game like that Firebreak game that's in like the Control universe. And I remember when I first saw some footage, I was like, man, they might have something here. This could be really fun. But I think it's literally just like some generic live service grab with like a bunch of existing assets that obviously just didn't do very well. If your goal is to make money in the game, you make different decisions than your goal is to make the game. Right. And if you're trying to make something that you really, really want to make, obviously it could fail. Hang on a second. What is this? Man, these people are getting... Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, like, let's say that you like... Yo, what's good, Paranoid Merlin? Thanks for the 3-stream streak. Let's say that you really, really want to make a deck builder and it's like... It's so out of touch with what people want. You know what I mean? It's like a deck builder that's flashcards and it's helping you memorize the multiplication table. just something that we know there's going to be pretty much like, no demand for. If you're really passionate about that and you make it, that doesn't mean it's going to be successful. You could be passionate about something that a large portion of the world doesn't give a single ounce about. They're just like, what the frick is this? Right? What the heck is this? I think you have to kind of put the two things into a blender. You've got to see what people are being receptive to, what types of genres and art styles and types of games are people enjoying, and then say, hey, we're really passionate about making this game, in this quote unquote genre or whatever. Like if Expedition 33's team was like super passionate about making a game where you were doing turn-based combat inside of a museum, and it was slow, plotting, and boring. You had to stop and like listen to a tour guide talk about the paintings and stuff, and like all this weird stuff, and people were like, yeah, it's a cool art style game, but it's very boring and it's very slow, and the gameplay loop, it put me to sleep. So like it can't just be like aimless passion. It has to be passion that's aimed at something that is sellable, that is potentially likable, like people are going to like it. I think I'd say if you make something with passion, it'll create a game with passion. That's the only guarantee. Market success is a more complex animal. Yeah, I think you have to be cognizant of like what people will or won't play. Thank you, Justin, for renewing your membership and getting us to 357 on the week. I appreciate you. Like, you have to be aware of like what is popular in the market. Like, this is true in content creation as well. I'm super passionate about Returnal. I can't become a full-time Returnal streamer. It would be a way of, you would murder any chance of being successful. You would run people away from your channel. You would not get a lot of viewers. You would not get a lot of support. It would be a very fast way to retire involuntarily, sort of voluntarily. So you can basically be very passionate, but it's about something that like nobody really wants. I think Sandfall saw the market for turn-based RPGs and aimed for success in that market. They weren't expecting the Lonos of the world to play it. Yeah, I think their ability to make a game that like non-turn-based fans wanted to play, I don't think was even a part of their passion. It had more to do with their presentation. Their presentation is what drew me in from the very, very beginning. I might be crazy, but I think the statue is for Dante's Inferno. No. It's for Divinity. It's already been solved. There was a trademark filed for Divinity, and there's this, which perfectly lines up on the statue, like the eyeball in the center. And then there's also another thing that was filed with the same trademark, and it's like the big spider web thing. I'm gonna find it for you. Yeah. This was also trademarked, and this lines up perfectly on the statue. So, yeah, it's not Dante's Inferno. There were definitely some people that were in this community. I know Sven was saying that. He was very much pulling for Dante's Inferno. So, another question here from Infinity Nerd. Do you think we'll get a Rayman announced tomorrow or too soon? I don't really have a way to gauge whether or not we get anything from Rayman. I don't have a way of making that prediction. I don't know if there's been whispers or leaks or anything about it. It's Rick and Morty in Adventure Time. Yes, it's Rick and Morty in Adventure Time. Or as I said it this morning, what did I say, Jay and Morty? I was like, I couldn't remember the name of the show, and I said it, and I was like, I know that's wrong. I was like, I know that's not right. I don't watch any of those cartoons. Not enough Christian iconography for Dante's Inferno. Divinity, I sleep. Typical Geoff. I don't know why you're saying typical Geoff. It was probably Larian that paid for the statue and came up with the idea. And I don't know if Larian is a sleepy announcement. You know, they made the game of the year from a couple of years ago, Baldur's Gate 3. It sold like over 15 million copies. I don't know if that's like a sleepy announcement, you know. Do you know what I'm saying, bro? Geoff plays with my emotions is what he did. So you blame him for getting excited about a statue? Okay. I don't think it's his fault. You know? Everybody got spun up into wild speculation. If you got really excited and thought it was Dante's Inferno, and you're feeling a sense of disappointment, I think that's on... I feel like that's on you. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to play a blame game here with you. I don't think it's Geoff Keighley's fault. Yeah, you gotta be in control of your emotions. Yeah, it was. I said this, you know, kind of early on. No matter what, it's fun to me, right? No matter what, I think it's fun. I think it's fun when companies do stuff like this. I think it's fun when companies market stuff like this. So I didn't care either way. Like, if it was for something that I'm excited about, then cool. If it's for something that's probably not going to get me all that excited, I still think it's cool. It's, you know, it's I get excited for other people. I do. When somebody's team did really well, or, you know, if there's a really popular IP that I'm not into and it gets a new thing, you know, I get excited for the fans of that franchise and the fan of that thing. I have a bye week in my league. What's going on? Oh, we're going into like a playoffs thing in fantasy. I'm tied for first place with my dad. I don't pay any attention to it. Managing expectations and coping with disappointment is not the strong point of the gamer. I mean, you're not wrong. You know, you're not wrong. How long do you think the Game Awards will be, says TJ Boom Boom. It's usually like 2 hours long, isn't it? I feel like it's usually 2 hours long. Is typically how it goes. Sometimes like 2.5, maybe 2.5 hours. I think. That's true of sports fans too. Yep. Yep. Well, guys, in 17 minutes, if we get past the 17-minute mark, it was 4 hours last time? Could have sworn one went on for 3 or 4. Holy frick, it's starting at 7:30. I'm an old man. How late am I going to be up here? Let's check here. The Game Awards live. Let's see here. The Game Awards 2024 official live stream last year was 3 hours and 42 minutes. Now, the actual show started 30 minutes in. So it was a little over 3 hours long. Dear Lord. So I'm basically going to be up until... Because it basically is going to start at 8. Because 7:30 is the pre-show. So 7:30, right? 7:30 pre-show. Yeah. We're going to be up past 11. We're going to be up past 11, boys. We're breaking out of old man territory. We're breaking out of old man territory, boys. I'm going to be very tired the next day. I'm going to be very tired. But in 15 minutes, if there's not some kind of a Half-Life 3 announcement, we're probably going to call it and just go to Green Room. I don't know how late in the day they would do the announcement. I mean, somebody was speculating earlier that it would be around 1. I don't know if there's anything. I don't know if Mike Straw has said anything today, if he's winked, coughed, or nudged Twitter. Just move to the West Coast and stream from here. Problem solved. That actually, I've never thought about that. That solved it. I'll be watching in the morning. It starts 1 a.m. UK time. I'll catch up with my breakfast. Yeah. Is Sydney Sweeney Supergirl? No. That would be crazy. No. I forget her name. She's from the one Game of Thrones show, isn't she? Millie Alcock, however you say it. Yeah. Millie. Going to have another famous Millie on our hands. Her and Millie Bobby Brown. Yeah. Mama, we're moving to California. Pick which one of the kids you want to give over to the game up. No, it'd be like, pick which kid you want to put over adoption. We can't afford to live there. Is it pronounced Alcock? How do you pronounce the name? Alcock? Alcock? 3 hours without the pre-show. What an only hands Fandle. That's what I'm saying. That's a really unfortunate last name. This can't be a real game. I picked up Echoes of the End to support the devs. Still full of these bugs. I'm dying. Oh, your buddy's just walking on. That's pretty bad, Sven. Yeah. They pushed out like a pretty big update, and it still didn't seem like it was in a great spot. Oh, Arc Raiders has a maps feedback survey that's going out. Looks like they want you guys to give feedback on the maps. We shall see if that turns into anything. The Game Awards is sending out emails. It all happens tomorrow. Are you going to start later tomorrow? I don't know. We might skip morning coffee. I might take advantage of the day and maybe just sleep in a little bit and just boot up, go live with the waiting room, and not do morning coffee. So we start on time public, but like maybe we just skip morning coffee. I don't know. It is a long day to sit in the chair. You know, basically that's a 13-hour stream. If we go basically from 10 in the morning to 11 at night, I mean that's just, you know, that's a long day. And I take breaks, and you know I've been doing this a long time, so it's not out of the ordinary for me to do a long show. But yeah, my wife and I have been working our way through like Christmas movies and stuff, and sometimes we end up staying up a little bit late. Got about 10 minutes to when we may or may not see something from Half-Life 3 today. I don't know if they would drop anything at a specific time. They might just do it randomly. So if we hit 1 o'clock and nothing's going on, we'll bounce to Green Room in the Discord. There's not much to discuss in Green Room today because we know what tomorrow is, but still fun to hang out and chit chat. And make sure you're doing your renewals, whether you have a Prime to renew on Twitch or a renewal of a membership on YouTube. If you're at Member Plus or VIP, it counts towards the goal. And I'll have to play Dispatch Friday night. And I have a new segment we'll do on Friday as well. I'm going to give you a double whammy this week since Madam won't be available Friday night. I'm going to do a Returnal Rage Run. We'll call it Returnal Rage Runs, maybe plural, on Friday for you. It was an idea that a viewer came up with, and we'll try that segment out on Friday if you guys manage to hit the goal, which at this point you probably will, because we had such a big day today. Thanks to Twitch, a special shout out and thanks to Pork Pie and Flyers for going so crazy today. Wired Rope faithfully gifting as well all the time over here. The Destiny raid days. Yeah. Laura Croft will get the loudest cheer. Probably not. No. I think a celebrity, like a surprise celebrity appearance, will probably get the loudest cheer. If any of the rumors are true and like some of the really big name games are there, like if Half-Life 3 is real and Half-Life 3 is there, it will get a big cheer. I don't think Laura Croft is going to get like a stronger cheer from, compared to other things. What was your longest Destiny raid? I don't know. I think there was the last one that I did was, I forget. I just know that the next morning I felt terrible and went to bed. I think that was the time where I that preceded me at Deepstone Crypt. That preceded me going to the hospital. My blood pressure was really elevated, and we weren't sure why. I mean, it was up there, and I had like a very dull, like chest pain. And they ran every test they could. They could not figure out what the problem was, and cardiologist was just like, "Have you undergone a lot of stress lately?" And this was the end of 2021. And I was like, "Yeah, maybe just a little." Not the raid, but like the whole year? No, that was at the end of 2020. Because I hadn't been banned yet. It was at the end of 2020. So yeah, it was 6 months of anxiety and stress about everything that happened, basically. Yeah. Yeah. That'll do it. So, but yeah, I think that was kind of the catalyst, just being up really late and trying to beat it and being stressed. And they banned one of the guys in our team like the day that the raid came out. We were literally getting ready to play, and he was like, "What? I'm banned?" How do you manage the blood pressure these days? Some of it's down because I've lost a bunch of weight. That helps. Some of it's down because like I'm mentally in a better place. And then some of it's down because I'm also on a very low dose of blood pressure medication. So. Yo, what's good, Trey? How are you? All right, we got about 7 minutes, and we're going to see if we get anything from Half-Life 3. I'm kind of glad we didn't do a waiting room for it today. We entertained the idea, and I was like, I'm not confident enough to, the torch drinks help. I'm actually not using them all that often, but I probably should be. It's a great alternative, but this time of year, the Christmassy beers and the bourbon are a little bit more appealing this time of year. We had some Woodford last night with a Snickerdoodle. My wife makes really good cookies, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a dangerous combination." But yeah. If you're trying to find an alternative to like relaxing in the evening, to alcohol, we are partnered with Torch. You can use the command. You gotta be careful with it though. I do like the smallest amount possible just to relax. Some people go a little bit further than that. Will they show anything on the Steam machine at the show? I mean, I don't know what they would show unless they're wanting to do release date with price, which they seem very hesitant to do that. I don't know if they can commit to a price right now, given the fluctuations within hardware and pricing and RAM and everything else. They might not be able to commit to a price just yet. So I do think that it makes sense for Half-Life 3 to be a launch title and a Valve exclusive, a Steam exclusive. So Terminator 2D No Fate in 2 days. That's my Christmas game this year. Sugar and bourbon. Can't imagine why you feel like... When did I say I feel like crap? I feel fine. I never said I felt like crap. Yeah, the Terminator 2D No Fate game looks fun. Yeah, I agree, Zoob. I think they're going to hold off on price till the last second. Yep. There's a lot of moving parts. You still have a physical copy of the orange box on PC? Man. Have they even committed to a release window? I think they've said what, next year? I think they've just said 2026. I don't think they've said a month or a time or anything. I feel like crap after Deep Stone Crypt. Yeah, that was... How long were we even in there? We started raiding in the afternoon. I think we gave up the next morning. I mean, it was stupid. It was 16... Well, because I started streaming before that, though, it ended up being a 24, 26-hour stream or something ridiculous. That was terrible. Yeah. Yeah. Even if I get a good night's sleep, sitting in the chair like tomorrow for like 11 hours, I mean, you got to get up and take breaks. It is, I'm not a young man anymore. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for 10 years. So it's like, at 44, streaming for 11 hours is, it's a tall order. I enjoy it. It's fun, but I could not do that every day. There are guys that's, man, they still put in the hours. They still do the grind. And I'm like, I can't do that. My Christmas game is Kazan, First Berserker. I don't really have a Christmas game. The more gameplay footage I've seen of the Metroid game, the more glad I am that I skipped it. Yeah, I saw the slide thing, Lone Wolf. It is pretty cool. I'm glad that I skipped it. The shooting and the movement just does not look like I would have a good time with it. Yeah, that Splash Plate YouTube channel. Yeah, they said this is the email I received. They said they're sick to their stomach. Despite proof that this is a blatant error in their AI, I don't know what to do. Hopefully enough people can signal boost their tweet. That seems to be the only way to get those false bans fixed. People keep getting false banned by the AI, and then like they can't get like a real person to look into it and fix it until enough people raise a stink on Twitter. It's like you got to mention like, you know, Mr. Beast and Keemstar and Drama Alert and other big streamers to signal boost, because if not, you're just freaking sitting there stuck. It's got to be such a widespread problem that the team that's supposed to, you know, review and overturn, they're probably just getting absolutely overwhelmed. There are probably so many people that are like, hey, I just got banned and I didn't do anything. What team? Like the team that's handling like the real people that are handling the problem of the AI bans. They're probably freaking inundated. Kick real people. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is you're not interacting with real people, and that's why. The people that are actually there for you to interact with, I'm assuming, are just getting slammed. Because there's so many people that are like, yo, what the frick is going on? Like, people can't get answers. It's terrible. It really is a terrible situation. And obviously, it's scary. Because, you know, so I'm sitting here. This is my primary means of providing for my family. It's like, you know. And we've got a partner manager we could reach out to. So we definitely have an avenue of contact that could easily, you know, reverse support and figure out what in the world happened. But good golly, some of these people, man, I feel terrible for them. It's got to be devastating and also like frustrating because you can't get an answer. All right, it's 1 o'clock. Let's refresh the feeds, boys. All right, come on. Let's see what we see. Anything. Nothing. We'll have to wait a few minutes. Sometimes posts take a second to hit. Ella Purnell doing an interview with Future Game Show. She is like painfully adorable. I can't wait for the new season. I love that they got Macaulay Culkin. It's gonna be awesome. I really hope that they nailed it. What time is it? 3:58. Okay, I don't think it's happening today. I'm assuming Valve would have tweeted it. I'm assuming Valve's YouTube channel would have it. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Mike Straw might have had outdated info. So use the Discord command. And get in the Discord. I want to end this before it hits 3 hours. That tends to help these streams after the fact. I don't like them going too long because then people want to come and watch them later. It's a little bit easier to consume it when it's this length. So tomorrow will be a great day. We'll be doing a waiting room for the Game Awards. We'll be co-streaming the Game Awards. It should be an absolute blast. Thanks for a huge day. Make sure and hit like on your way out on YouTube. It will help this video later. So thank you guys so much. And I'll see you in the Discord for Green Room. Get in there. It's a great reason to be a member. It's a great reason to support the channel. All right? Thanks so much.